Live from New York, the show that's celebrating Jackie Robinson Day.
Oh,
yes.
Today, everyone wearing 42 today. Dodgers, Mets. Nice matchup tonight at 10 o'clock. So
I'm really glad that's
Great
how you
day.
started this.
well, no, there's plenty of making fun of you later in the show. Nick is still on tilt because yesterday he'd made a decision not to include.
No, that is not what happened.
Everywhere he goes, somebody
messed up.
How in the world did you leave Steph Curry off?
It was a mortifying oversight that if after the show yesterday, I'm 3 days away from my 10-year anniversary at the network. If after the show yesterday the bosses had called me and like, turn your key card in, you've lost it, I would have been like, I
deserve it.
I get it.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I noticed it, but I just let you.
I let you marinate. That's so funny.
I noticed it, but I said, you know what? Let him deal with it.
I noticed it
Let
upstairs.
him live there.
What bad team.
First hour, first things first. Today, could LaMelo be facing additional punishment for tripping Bam? What is going on? Meanwhile, in brighter news, it's World Cup Wednesday. How worried are we about Pulisic's goal-scoring drought? I guess that's not brighter news. We're talking about goal-scoring drought. And finally, which team has climbed atop the playoff tiers?
Great tears today.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
What?
Oh, you are.
Just
What's
a little
your
blind
problem?
optimism.
You know
I
what?
will show you a clip that everyone will say, oh, yeah, of course. I don't care if you're going to Spain to get your hamstring checked out. Even J.J. Redick is like, come on, guys.
They don't sound as optimistic as.
You know who I do
How
think
about
is
that?
optimistic? The NBA scheduling office. We'll discuss.
You think they have insight?
Helping them out a little.
Yeah, I do that. I think they're putting a tiny finger on the scale.
if I was in the office, I want Luka
absolutely.
playing.
Starting Charlotte, LaMelo's on the floor early in the second quarter. He appears to grab and pull Bam's foot from underneath him. Bam lands hard and is out for the game. Hornets win. Coach Spoelstra's upset. LaMelo's apologetic. Take a listen.
Is he?
I don't know.
I don't think it's cute. I don't think it's funny. I think it's a stupid play. It's a dangerous play. Obviously, our best player is out. I'm not making an excuse. The Hornets played great, and they made those plays down the stretch. We had our opportunities to win. I just that's a shame. He should be penalized for that. I don't think that belongs in the game. Tripping guys, shenanigans, and Curtis was there. It's his responsibility to see that. And if it's not his responsibility, then Zach's got to see it. If somebody has got to see that, and that he should have been thrown out of the game.
I haven't even seen. Like I said, I got hit in the head. Didn't even know where I was. But yeah, just playing basketball. But like I said, sorry, and I'm gonna check on him.
Okay. Hornets did win, so I don't want to be too down. It's my Hornets squad. I called a blowout. That didn't quite turn out that way. Additional penalties might come down from the league. We're waiting to hear that. Should LaMelo have been ejected for pulling Bam's leg?
Well, first, let me say this. I hate this play. Because obviously it's dangerous. Yeah. And you did hurt a player. Hopefully it's not anything long-term. I don't think it is. But you hurt him for the game.
And ended his season.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I hate it also, and I don't know if we can get close enough. I hate it because of the deception, what in the world is going on? I'm just tripping this guy. All the way to LaMelo's facial expressions when he's on the ground. I don't know if we can get close enough, but you can on YouTube. Like the whole thing is, what's going on, as he's tripping him on purpose, even to the press conference. Yeah. Now, I don't know if LaMelo is just not the most thoughtful guy in the world.
I do.
But the press conference, he's playing dumb too.
Yes.
All right, I don't know, man. I think I might have hit my head. You clearly tripped the dude. It reminds me of Draymond's kicks. Remember back in the day when
he was like my body.
It's just a natural reaction as I'm kicking this guy in the midsection.
Well, not the midsection.
Yeah, right, the groin, as they say, right? But I just hate that. Now, that said, I don't think he should have been ejected. I think it should have been a flagrant one. All right, the flagrant one is obviously unnecessary conduct, excessive, reckless. That's a flagrant one. I think that's what he should have got. People will say, well, Bam was lost for the whole game. The refs obviously have no idea that Bam's lost for the whole game at that moment.
Yeah.
And so I think he should have got a flagrant one. Now, I felt this way from the get-go, but, and I'll give credit to Brian Windhorst, ESPN, who was saying, I didn't remember this video, but from 2 years ago, when Joel Embiid, I think he grabs Mitchell Robinson. I think that's more egregious.
And knocked him out for the playoffs.
Yes.
Or
yes.
Basically.
His lower, he hurt his ankle.
I mean, that's a.
Right?
Yes.
And that was a flagrant one.
Yep.
So that's worse than what LaMelo did, as bad as what LaMelo did. So, and I think as the league looks at this, I think they will and they should give him a flagrant one. You know, that you just give that to him going forward. But I don't think he should have been ejected.
Listen,
I'm glad he wasn't, to be honest.
So added context that the refs obviously didn't have, but we now have, is everything Brew described about LaMelo swiping or grabbing at a player's ankle after he falls down on a drive, particularly if that player is Bam Adebayo, and then looking around like he wasn't meaning to, is the exact thing he did 2 years ago, which I do think might color the league's office opinion on this. Watch LaMelo here from 2 years ago.
Same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
And
So he felt like he got tripped here.
yeah, and so then and so then he grabs a guy who's running up the court.
What, I was just going like that?
Now,
Right.
I don't know how the NBA rules are written, but I know how like regular rules work. The same act can have very different penalties based on the outcome of the act. And I would, if the NBA says, you know what, you are suspended for the next game because, and part of the reasoning is your previous actions, but also Bam missed that game, and had you not injured him with a dirty play, you wouldn't have another game. I'm not going to cry any tears for LaMelo. I'm not demanding his suspension, and I also think had they reviewed it, which they couldn't, but say the ball had gone out of bounds and they could have reviewed it, and they know Bam got hurt, I think they might have given him a flagrant too.
Oh,
you know, in real time, because I think they might have said, like, that's a flagrant one typically, but you injured a player. But the bigger story to me is, and I'm not sorry, and I don't care if this gets clipped, that young man is a clown and has been a clown forever and will never not be a clown.
Well, that's a little far. You don't know that.
You're right. You're right about that part.
Hopefully he learned. I hear you.
You know what? That part is correct.
Hopefully
You know what, Brew? I'm glad you're here to correct that. I don't know what he will be down the road. What I do know is that the way he conducts himself on the court, and it would appear off the court, is that of an immature, coddled teenager. And he is, and we're going to get into the actual Hornets piece of it and the team, but so much of it is tied to their most talented player is one of the most wildly immature, erratic, unreliable guys, unaccountable, all those things. Right, all those things. And so I do think that when it comes to laying down penalties, when there's a gray area, all of that comes into play. One of the reasons I wasn't as, apoplectic as some when you mentioned Draymond, what led the kicks led to him being suspended for the finals, because it felt like, you know what? This guy's been in the first game of the playoffs, he body slammed Michael Beasley when the game was over. That's how he got his first flagrant foul point. He's kicking Steven Adams. Like, you know what? You've lost the benefit of the doubt. And LaMelo's general disregard, it would appear to me, and this I don't think is unfair, and I am glad you correct me on that, Brew, because I don't know what someone's going to be. But general disregard for the safety of others around him in all walks of life is not what a $200 million face of the franchise guy who was drafted the same year as Anthony Edwards and Denny Avdia, who are grown adult NBA players. Everybody has their own issues, but at least do their job with professionalism. Like, it's not that he's a kid. He's been in the league the whole decade.
Can I say that I hear you, and I think from a basketball standpoint, if you remember, and I think a lot of us do, even though it was high school, a lot of us know the way they played in high school. He rarely crossed half court to play defense. It was all cherry picking, and they won a lot of games and they were great and all this and that. But that lack of seriousness, that lack of taking the game seriously, respecting the game is what has followed him into the NBA. Now, I said yesterday, and I stand by that. He has Hall of Fame talent and ability. But right now, he just plays ball like Colin Cowherd said it earlier. They're like a frat house with no chaperone. It's a frat party with no chaperone. Like, he plays it like it's an and one mixtape game, or he's the Harlem Globetrotters or something like that. And if he ever gets serious and matures in his basketball game, he can be a great player. But stuff like this is not just silly. I'm criticizing for being silly.
Yeah.
This is just
we have some sillier
terrible
stuff coming up. Yeah. All right, end of the game. LaMelo's bringing the ball up, turns it over. Tyler Hero goes to the corner. LaMelo ends up fouling him, so they're down. But then LaMelo wins the game. Yeah. So I don't know what to make of it. And then he celebrates by punching the mascot. That's shout to Hugo. That's just celebratory. A lot to digest. Here he was after the game with Cassidy Hubbard.
On that last drive, pretty much I just got to win the game. I feel like I just the game up, so I'm like, it's my fault. I gotta make it work.
Look at Bruce's face. Brew can't
He's a 6-year veteran.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I know he's young.
I know you come in young, but you didn't come in at 13.
Yeah.
Do you feel better or worse about the Hornets' playoff chances?
I feel the same.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna get beat by Detroit if they make the first round.
Yeah.
They're obviously not gonna beat Detroit. Detroit's just better. Detroit beat them 3 times, 3 out of 3 this season. I think they will beat Orlando. They have owned Orlando. They've beaten them 3 out of 4, but 3 straight by like 20 points a game.
Yep.
All right, so I do think they would beat Orlando. Philadelphia with Maxey, Edge, Paul George is playing very well since he's been back. I think Philadelphia with that crowd, and who knows what in the world, we'll get into this later, Colin Knippel's going to do because he disappeared last night. I hope they get in the playoffs. For all the madness that was last night, I just think they're a fun team to watch, and hopefully they mature to the point where eventually they can become a team of consequence. Well, this experience against Detroit, when they get swept or beat in 5, if they make it, will be good for them, and then next year we'll see if they mature. But no, it doesn't change. This is what they are. They hoisted 50-something threes last night. They're second in the league in three-point attempts. This is how they play.
Yeah.
And they do have talent, and their talent saves them. And Charles Lee is a very good coach.
And it took guts to bench Colin Knippel.
Absolutely.
And
that
it
was
ended
a
up
gutsy
working out.
move, a great move by him.
KW.
Look.
KW.
Someone has to ride for the underdogs on the show, okay?
There's plenty of underdogs.
Can't just be Thunder Lakers talk all the time, a little bit of Wemby. So I got stuck with the Hornets.
No, you opted. You could have picked the Blazers or the Raptors or any of them.
You held me at bay when I thought about
You misread a news article 4 years ago about LaMelo's All-Star voting and have been tied to him since
The kids love Melo, and I want to be in with youth culture.
Yes, exactly. How'd you enjoy watching that game last night?
I'll be honest with you. The attributes that I look for in one of my teams: intensity. Not necessarily there when LaMelo's hoisting up logo threes in a heat check threes.
Game.
And there was a point where he got an and one, and he goes into the Heat's huddle to chat with them like you would do in, we don't allow that in flag football. It would be frowned upon. 2, defense, which I'm a huge fan. I remember I coined defense wins championships. There's no reason LaMelo should have a Luka-esque turnstile quality to his game.
It's not Luka-esque. He is demonstrably worse defensively than Luka.
He should be better than Luka.
Right, but instead he's for all the flack Luka gets for his defense, LaMelo has, since he's walked into the league, been one of the worst defenders in basketball that plays.
There's no reason to be that bad.
No.
If you were athletic, you shouldn't be that bad at
he has
defense.
all the attributes to be a good defender.
And then
He's long.
the style of basketball, and call me a caveman. I've got a skunk-like gray streak through my hair. Miles Bridges, this is in the fourth quarter, okay? They're down 6. Miles Bridges throws a lob to Brandon Miller. What? Even Miles Bridges is like, what's going on? Comes back to Miles Bridges, he hits the 3. Now,
they had a dunk. They had a dunk.
This is a dunk? No. Look at Miles Bridges. What are you doing? I'm giving it back to you for a 3. This is how we play. Okay, bucket. And then it sets up Kobe to. So,
I mean, before the shot went in, I was screaming, like, what in the world? And then it goes, and look.
This is how it works.
I gotta be honest, though. This is egregious. That's just the word. But we do see a lot of passing up easy 2-point shots to kick it out for 3.
I just tried to pick the most egregious. There's plenty of ones where like the lane is open, I'll take a 3.
That was unbelievable.
They're a fun team to root for, but
they have
a little tough for me.
Can I make the silly point, or are you gonna make it?
Well, you took my silly corner. They're a little bit of a silly squat. Stop swearing in the interviews, please.
No, but KW said to me before the show, we were talking.
Oh, I like
this.
Let me pitch it then.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Sorry,
KW's
I didn't know what
takes,
silly point you had.
Go ahead. Because then I want to say something, but you do.
Guy that leaves Steph off the top 10, lecturing me on my job. Okay. I don't know. You said LaMelo was silly. I think it's the kindest way to put it. I don't think we've ever had a leader of an NBA champion be remotely silly.
Like, who's this is...
I can't think of a champion.
No, a champion.
I'm running through the
Like,
teams,
who is the silliest champion? I said to Wilds, I was like, I think some might say Walton because he was kind of a hippie, or Shaq
It's
with
on the
some of his
Walton
goofiness.
was a thoughtful guy.
That's
exactly.
the thing.
He was thoughtful, and Shaq was just fun-loving.
Yeah, Shaq-
None of those guys are just...
But just recently, SGA is locked in.
Yeah.
Joker is locked in. Tatum and Jaylen Brown are locked in.
Yeah, Bron,
Steph is
Kawhi.
locked in. Kawhi rarely smiles.
I mean, Rodman, but he wasn't
not
the
the
leader.
leader.
Team, but
Yeah.
he was a consequential player. I mean, forget champion. But it's hard to think. I know there have been silly players in the league, but
Best player on a contender.
Yeah.
So that's listen.
a lot to,
They have a
ceiling.
LaMelo Ball problem, and
there are people, and there are some people saying he could make All NBA this year.
Well,
so I don't think they look at it. I mean, obviously they know his issues, but I don't think they're like thinking of trading.
So here, I'm going to get to that. Because I just want to put some context on. I know the play-in game is technically not a playoff game, but it's and it's the stakes of a game 7. This type of play-in game, the 9-10 play-in is winner. Loser goes home. Most missed threes in a playoff game in NBA history. LaMelo last night. The most in NBA history. Now I understand guys haven't been shooting threes, so
and he had 30 and won the game. Hit the game-winning shot.
But
I mean, you got to.
14 threes is a lot.
But that's what he does. I mean, they hoist a ton of threes.
And so in line with that, I know he did have 30 and he had 10 assists. They were also the reason they needed the game-winning layup was because of his errors on the other end with the ball and then the foul. And then there is the question I have, which is, I know the team has gotten better, but you said it, Brew, he's in year 6. How much better has he gotten? This is year 2 versus this year.
His numbers were better the previous 3 years than they are this year. They went down this
year. And
Assistant
it'd be one thing if the numbers went down, but the efficiency went up. But instead, no. Like in year 2, he was rookie of the year, then an all-star, and then hasn't been an all-star since. And so here's the point I'm making. While I would not want to be in the LaMelo Ball business, if I'm looking at the barren post-Giannis landscape and I'm trying to sell tickets and appeal to young people.
What a take.
this trade works, and it's Giannis for LaMelo, the French kid they drafted a few years ago doesn't play, and 4 firsts, only one of which is Charlotte's. Orlando's first this year, Charlotte's first this year, a Dallas first, and a Cleveland first. And
so Charlotte still keeps
their own first, and I would imagine, and Charlotte would have Knippel, Brandon Miller, who's an excellent, I think future all-star, and Giannis.
They got some other good.
Right, and you would go and Giannis is fun, but he's serious, and he is a leader.
I mean, that's very interesting.
And I don't think Charlotte is going to, from what I understand, Knippel kind of was the impetus along with the coach, but of changing the culture of like guys' practice habits, things like that. I think Brandon Miller is a guy who has a ton of talent, but hasn't necessarily shown like the decision making or leadership where he's going to be like the guy.
He won't be a number one.
Right. And so But
do you think they would, because if you trade for Giannis, you're like, we're trying to win right now.
Trying to win right now.
Are those young guys good enough to win a championship?
If they're good enough to win 40-some games with LaMelo, then I think they'd be good.
I mean, it's interesting. Look, if I'm the Bucks, like you said, I'm signing up for LaMelo in Milwaukee. I mean, he's in Charlotte now, but
yeah,
I think they can get better. It wouldn't be my first choice if I'm Milwaukee. I'll tell you that. But that's
I
not
like
bad.
it. I hope. Look, I'm still the Hornets guy, although there wasn't a lot of.
I thought you were going to drop them.
Yeah,
you made a pseudo announcement.
You guys came out of the gate too hard. If you guys were a little bit softer, I would have been like, I'm out on the Hornets.
Buddy, you didn't enjoy watching them.
No, not at all.
You didn't enjoy the experience.
No.
Nobody's pining for more Hornets coverage.
We're gonna get more
drop.
Are you ready to give? You think? I don't look. If they get a great trade for LaMelo, one thing, but I'm not necessarily trying to move him if I'm Charlotte. I'm trying to help him grow up.
I want them to get past Orlando or the 76ers, play the Pistons, see what real playoff basketball necessitates, and maybe that will be the catalyst for some growth that would be good for everyone involved.
Okay.
I think LaMelo needs a 10-pack of King conferences, or else we're going to have more.
You're always welcome, LaMelo.
At Phoenix. End of the game, Denny wins it, 2 of his 41. Suns set, Blazers advance to take on the Spurs. What was your number one takeaway from this game?
Well, I had 2 quick takeaways. One, here's another international star.
Oh.
That was my first take. And I've been following him. He's had a great year, so I knew of him very well. But he's great. This was a phenomenal game by him. But the second thing was, and here's the latest bad move by the Washington Wizards.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Like those were my first 2 thoughts. Here's the latest star. Here's the latest bad move by the Wizards. They drafted him 9th.
Yep.
He's a lottery. He was your lottery pick.
A 19-year-old from Israel who they were shocked might take a little bit of time to develop.
Right, and if you look at Jokic, Giannis, most of the international guys have taken a few years to get going, all right? And he actually got going with them. His 4th year with them, he averaged 15.7 rebounds, like 4 assists, was efficient, and they traded him for Bub Carrington and Malcolm Brogdon, who's no longer in the league.
Correct.
And some draft picks. But this dude is nice, and actually, you know what? I was surprised they beat Phoenix, but Portland's future, Nick, is fair. I mean, they're in the West, it's tough, but with Avdia, with Shaedon Sharpe, who averaged 21 this year, Donovan Clingan is good. He's 12 and 12. 12 points, 12 rebounds a game. Your guy, Scoot Henderson. I mean, he's shown a little something.
Yeah.
But
and then Dame's back.
Who'd you say?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
No, but
that'll be interesting.
They
do have veterans.
And for right now, Drew.
Yep, Drew.
They
Holiday.
brought in I questioned that. I was like, what are they trying to win now? What is this? Drew was super. There were multiple times in yesterday's game it looked like the Suns were just going to put it away.
Yeah.
And there were also a couple times it looked like both teams kind of took turns blowing what looked like the game. But Drew was such a veteran, steadying presence, and Denny was unstoppable. And it's really hard to be. Nobody's afraid of his pull-up jump shot, and he still just get to the rim. That was
great playmaker.
Right. That was really impressive. And, you know, he's another one of the guys. You were talking about LaMelo flirting with All-NBA. He's been flirting with All-NBA. But your point about the Wizards, I wrote that down and I added, I felt the same thing watching Kobe White.
Yes.
For the Bulls spend a top 10 pick on Kobe White, give him away for nothing.
He was a 20-point scorer for them.
And there is the market inefficiency of the NBA of doing business with the dumb teams is undefeated. Yep. And both Kobe White and Avdia in particular are on unbelievable contracts. Like Avdia makes like no money given his production, and he was on that contract before they traded him. And so, yeah, that was a super sharp move by the Blazers, who I obviously think the Spurs were going to be fine no matter who won this game. But I went into the game feeling like the Suns could give the Spurs the most trouble. I left the game saying, I think the Blazers can at least give the Spurs the same level of series the Suns.
Yeah. I think this is great for the Spurs because they can give them enough trouble to get a little adversity, a little test.
It's Mahomes getting a new wide receiver at pick number 9. That's next on FS1 on the Fox Sports Channel on Sirius XM. Tune in. Satellites. If you go under a bridge, you can't hear it for a second. How's the podcast doing? We haven't really talked about A+. And Gianna's debuting new segments on First Things First. What did we call them? That was a
you
great.
know nothing about me.
That's not true. I did well.
It's the First Things First Newlyweds game.
I mean,
and as expected, I knew everything about Brew.
No, I don't think you got one thing right. You were just
what?
You got a lot of 75%.
No, I got it exactly.
You were
right.
casting wide nets, and I was like, bam, here's the song. He's like, something by Run DMC.
No.
In any event, afternoon headlines sponsored by Ram Trucks Built to Serve. I think you even put 2 on that.
But, buddy, take the L.
8 days to the NFL draft. Greg Jennings is here. Check in the Chiefs War Room. Hosted wide receiver Chris Bell for a top 30 visit. Also, Mel Kiper's final mock has Mahomes teaming up with Jordan Tyson, wide receiver from Arizona State. Chiefs wide receivers last year, kind of middle of the pack.
Yep.
14th in yards, 18th in yards per reception, and tied for 14th. Only 15 touchdowns. That's not that many at all. Devontae Adams would do that by himself.
One year the Chiefs, pre-Mahomes, the Chiefs receivers of the season had 0 touchdowns.
Is that true?
True story. Tony Gonzalez had a bunch, and we ran the ball a lot. 0 touchdowns for the season.
That was so disappointing. That was Dwayne Bowe.
Well, I know. Dwayne Bowe was there. There you go. Ball nowhere. Good job, Greg.
I don't know
but go ahead.
How
Sorry.
Dwayne Bowe is surviving over there.
Yeah.
Are you okay with KC going wide receiver at 9?
I wouldn't be devastated by it, but it is not how I would recommend they go. And here's why. There are 2 positions that a lot of people mock them going at 9, wide receiver and tackle. And it is because they might need someone there. Because of, honest to God, just Rashee Rice's growing off-season issues, even though the NFL has said he's cleared on this, people feel like, you might need him, you might need a receiver, and Xavier Worthy, the worry about him coming into this season was, or the NFL was, is he too small? And he was banged up last year and not productive. So you might need someone there. Mm-hmm. The reason they would go tackle is Josh Simmons, who was awesome when he played, he also kind of went AWOL for like a month. You might need someone there. They definitively need an impact defensive player. They definitively need, I believe, a pass rusher. Now, I would put a small addendum on it if they decide Caleb Downs is a do-it-all safety who can rush the passer, even though he's not an edge rusher. Right. I mean, he's 4 inches shorter than Kyle Hamilton, but deploy him in that way, that would make sense to me. And I know the Chiefs' stats say the defense was 6th in points per game last year. I think that is so misleading because for the Chiefs last year, their offense and defense is better explained by points per drive because they were such long possessions and methodical and plotting this kind of in the last 2 years. They get less possessions on offense and the opposing team gets less possessions for them to score. So the Chiefs, by just watching them, couldn't get to the opposing quarterback, and they have no post-Chris Jones plan for impact front 7 players. So I Again, I understand them going receiver if they do. I wouldn't hate it. I would really not like offensive lineman at 9. But I think receiver is maybe a need. An impact defensive player is definitely a need. So that's where I stand.
I share that view. Obviously, they got to fill out a defensive backfield, and maybe they'll do that later in the draft. But if they go receiver, it wouldn't be devastatingly bad because they do need help there. I would not go, and a lot of guys have him on the board high, Jordan Tyson.
Because of the injury?
The guy, yes, out of Arizona State. Like, he had the knee injury a few years ago where he tore the ACL, MCL, and PCL.
Yep.
He had a broken collarbone, which I get that. That's not that big. And then last year he dealt with hamstring injuries. Only one time in his 4 years did he play a full season. So I'm like, if you're getting hurt like that in college, it's a leap to think you're going to be healthy in the NFL. And one of their problems with the receivers has been, like you said, Worthy's been out. Rashee Rice just hasn't been available because of various things. So I think if you get a receiver, obviously you'd love to have Carnell Tate. You take him. But you got to get a guy that's going to be able to play for you. And so I just think Tyson would be too risky at 9. But I look, if they take one that fits and will be healthy, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
No, I don't think they should take a receiver here at 9. Not at all. Like, even if all of them are there and available.
Wow, even Carnell Tate?
I just don't believe that they need to do that. This is such a receiver-heavy draft in terms of when you think about Andy Reid having a plan for a guy, can I use this guy a certain way? How does this guy fit? Chris Bell, the guy that they just hosted.
You like him a lot.
I like Chris Bell a lot, especially given a right situation. At 40, I don't think he gets picked because you're talking about coming off an injury. He has a torn ACL. At 9 and 29, you pick, but then you got the pick at 40. I could see them going for a Chris Bell because he fits that mold where you can put him in the backfield. You can put him in the slot. He's a big body guy, 6'2", 220-plus pounds.
Is his comp Debo?
So a lot of people say his comp is deep. Like, I look at him and when I watch him play, I think Anquan Bolden was a smarter player, but he reminds me of a lot of Anquan Bolden.
Anquan Bolden at 40.
And so, So for me, like, I just think the need, when you talk about teams who have tons of needs who aren't Super Bowl contenders, you go for best player available. When you are the Chiefs and you are Super Bowl contending, which we all believe, regardless of how we might see them coming to start the season, they have a chance to win the Super Bowl. You go for need. And your need is a pass rusher. Your need is on that defensive backfield. So Caleb Downs will be great. Even a corner. You mentioned they don't pick corners early. I think this might be a draft that you could do that. But definitely a pass rush. There are so many receivers that you can still get to where Andy Reid can get quality value and productivity out of them, whether that's Casey Concepcion, whether that's Chris Bell, whether that's Cooper Jr. if he's still out there, whether that's Jordan Tyson if everybody passes on him because of the injury history. I just think that there's some receivers that will still be available that they can eventually get that receiver.
I am starting to bail on the idea that was sold to me for years. Tell me if you're bailing as well. That if you have a superstar quarterback, you can just fill the roster with okay wide receivers. And for a while I was like, yeah, that does make sense. But then I watched Matthew Stafford have Puka, who was super productive, and they go out and get Devontae Adams, and they're the number one offense, and they're a few breaks away. If they didn't run into that defense, they might be Super Bowl champion. I watch Sam Darnold win the Super Bowl with JSN as the most productive wide receiver. It was the Patriots' plan for a long time with Tom Brady. Maybe that's the genesis of it.
Well, he's the only one I can really think of.
But Drake had Stephon was 1,000-yard
receivers. I mean,
wide
the last
receivers.
2 Super Bowls, they didn't
But then they had a great tight end as the Brady.
And it's a little bit, not tight ends, but like, and Josh. They were like, yeah, Josh. Now they went out and got DJ Moore. So I kind of want Patrick Mahomes to have a guy, like a real guy, not like, hey, a possession receiver, just like, this is going to whoever, and you can't stop
and listen, I think that if it were a different, and I'm not saying all these guys are turning into that, but if it were the receiver draft from 3 years ago, the one where Marvin went. Rome Odunze went to the Bears. There was someone who went in between. There were like 3 receivers taken in the top 11. I'm forgetting who the other one is. I don't know why.
Brian Thomas Jr.
He went later. He went after, but it was same draft. But there was one taken before Odunze. It doesn't matter. Point is, I don't think people look at this draft as, unless Carnell Tate is there at 9, that a guy who is going to be a long-time NFL number 1 receiver, like a blue chip receiver prospect. I don't think any of the other guys. Yeah, and so that's why I lean where Greg is.
Okay.
I could see him taking a receiver at 29.
Yeah.
I certainly, if they don't take one in the first round, think they will hope to take one at 40. But I think in that I agree with your general point, which is we are seeing, the impact of receivers more and more, and the star quarterbacks without them.
The money has followed.
Right. And that's the other reason that drafting a receiver is attractive now, high, is because of the money. Because all of a sudden, if the number 1 receiver makes $40 million a year, and you can get number 1 receiver production on a rookie contract, you're saving $35 million a year in cap space. I just don't know if those guys will be there at 9.
Greg, any number 1 guys like?
Oh, Malik Neighbors is the guy I was thinking of.
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
How did we miss that?
I don't know, man.
He's
I
number 1,
forgot
right?
Steph Curry played in the NBA.
We're going to have to move forward as a show. Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders feels like a done deal. Kirk Cousins already talking about the QB room like he's in there. But Vegas GM said they've, quote, gotten a few calls. The teams that call know where they stand. So it doesn't seem like the Raiders are going to move on. But I'm surprised that people were calling them. Should the Raiders consider trading the number 1 pick?
I would if I were them. So the last 10 number 1 overall pick quarterbacks, there are 4 guys that were unanimously considered they are going number 1. They are a blue chip prospect. And to varying degrees, all 4 of those guys, the least successful of them is the Prince. It's the Prince, Joe Burrow, Caleb, and Andrew Luck of the last 10 number 1 picks. Those were the 4 guys there was no debate. The other 6 guys who went number 1, there was, kind of differing thoughts on Jameis, Jared Goff, Baker, Kyler, Bryce, and Cam Ward. And none of those guys, except for Jameis, you know what I mean, do we know what the full story of their career is. Jared Goff, most of the book is in, and it's positive, but mostly positive for his second team. And even though there's no debate about Mendoza being the top quarterback, I think that's more about the quarterbacks in the draft than it is about his profile. If it's not an Andrew Luck, Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams, with respect, Trevor Lawrence draft, I'm listening. And if you're the Raiders, I would call the Jets and say, hey, would you give me 2, 16, and next year's 1? That's about the going rate. I would call Arizona and say, would you give me number 3 and 2 future 1s? I would call Cleveland and say, would you give me 6, 24, 39, and 1. That's like the historical, what it would take to move up from those spots. And then I would tease it out, and I'd game it out, and I'd think about the players I could add, how close I am to competing, my chance of getting a quarterback in next year's class. Now, if I think this guy is Joe Burrow or Andrew Luck or one of those guys, then no trade is worth it. I like Mendoza. I don't love Mendoza, and because to me, he's more in the Jared Goff mold as far of prospect, not necessarily career of prospect. So I would listen. I would listen in those cases.
So I think you have to listen, but absolutely not trade. Take your pick. When you hired Clint Kubiak and you started to make moves, you already have been backtracked or unplugged, if you will, on what your plans were, knowing that Max Crosby, what you were going to get for that trade and what you were going to have. You were planning to move forward with those draft picks. Right. Now you have Max Crosby still on your roster. No harm, no foul, whatever the case may be. But you acquired an offensive lineman in Linderbaum to secure your offensive line at the center position to alleviate the pressure of a young quarterback coming in immediately and having to call protection. So, okay, we got that. Then you bring in a guy like Jalen Naylor, a solid number 2 guy, and you have Brock, Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
You already have Ashton Genty. You need to bolster up your offensive line and get weapons around this quarterback. You're going to go get Mendoza. The fact that you go and get Kirk Cousins, nobody believes that that's their play.
No, everybody believes they're taking Mendoza.
Yes, and the reason why you get a guy like Kirk Cousins is so that he has somebody who has performed, who has played in this league, who understands what it looks like and what this plan that Clint Kubiak is going to have needs to look like. Now, you and Mendoza, being the you, are going to unlock it to its fullest potential, not Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I lean toward great. Obviously, it depends on how much they love the quarterback. But they clearly think he can be a franchise guy. And from what you see, the smarts, the size, the good enough athleticism, the intelligence, leadership. College, you look like a big game player. Like, he seems to have the intangibles. I don't think he'll ever be like a top 4 or 5 guy. Like we talk about Lamar, Mahomes, those guys. I don't think he'll ever be that. But what if and I'm not saying this because he's on the team, what if he's Kirk Cousins,
I think that's
who can play in big games, right? In primetime games, who can win those games. If he's Jared Goff, I'm taking it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You got to get that quarterback. You got to, and we just saw a team win it with Darnold, but Darnold now is a good, legitimate quarterback. So if he can be that, then I think you got to take him.
Okay. Steelers don't know who their QB is. Penn State's Drew Aller next up to visit Tom Pelissaro, writing as Pittsburgh awaits a decision from Aaron Rodgers. It has now hosted most of the draft's top quarterback prospects on a visit, which concludes today. Is it mandatory that the Steelers draft a quarterback?
Wasn't Aller viewed at one point? He was like one of the top guys.
Yes.
Yeah,
Class.
last year.
Right.
The year before, not this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why when we talk about next year's draft supposed to be great,
it always
you
can
just
change.
don't necessarily know. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna surprise you guys.
Really?
Will Howard.
Because they got this guy named
No,
Will
you
Howard.
can't.
know it. He loves Ohio
Hold
State
on.
guys.
Will Howard
Ohio
started
State
about
quarterbacks are-
30, played 50 college games.
Yeah.
Started about 30, won a national championship with Ohio State. I get it, they had a ton of talent around him. But he put up big numbers. He's 6'4", got the size.
He's 6'4".
I'm just saying, here's the thing. I don't necessarily want 2 young so-so prospects, right? I don't need 2 young, maybe average type prospects in my quarterback room. So play Howard. Worst case scenario, he's horrible. Guess what? We are near the top of next year's draft, and maybe we get our quarterback then. So I think that's a better move than bringing in Aaron Rodgers, winning 8, 9, 10 games, making the playoffs maybe, and getting blasted in the first round. So I would tell Mike McCarthy, look, you're our coach. We're the Steelers. We don't fire guys haphazardly. You're our coach. If we are bad this year, we're all right.
So I'm fine with all that, but they should just keep throwing darts at quarterback. Because I know I put the moratorium on the Rodgers thing.
Yeah.
But this tangentially is a Rodgers thing. I just want to remind the audience, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers in January, it's tax day, it's April 15th, in January, said we expect a decision by Aaron in the next month or so. Okay, well, it's not here. They then amended it. They're like, we expect it by the draft. I don't know that they're getting it by the draft. And the Steelers, they, at the tail end of Big Ben, they drafted Josh Dobbs in the 4th round. That was a good pick. You know what I mean? That guy's still in the league. Like, even if it wasn't like that was, you threw a dart. They drafted Mason Rudolph in the 3rd round. That was a fun, like, for a quarterback, he's still in the league. It's been 8 years. In 2022, they drafted Kenny Pickett in the 1st round and then also drafted Chris Olajuwon, who started a game for the couple games with the Chiefs last year, in the 7th round. They just drafted Will Howard in the 6th round. If you don't have a quarterback, every year you should draft one. And even if Aaron says he's coming, they should still draft one in the mid-rounds. Throw a dart. Hope you stumble onto Dak Prescott. It's very rare, but the value of that lottery ticket is so much higher than any other mid-round pick if you don't have the quarterback. So whether Rodgers is there or not, Brew, I would just add to it because I don't know that the 6th round pick last year, Will Howard, will be better than a 5th round pick they get this year. I don't know.
Yeah, so if we're talking about at some point throughout their draft process, should they draft a quarterback? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying with their first round pick.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a guy worthy of the first round
Okay,
pick.
I kind of
thought we were
figured
talking first
Yeah.
round.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just meant at some point in the draft they have to throw a dart.
Yeah,
at quarterback.
I'm with that.
Okay.
But not at number,
Right.
not with your first pick.
Oh.
Nope. Because
You
none
don't
of
believe in Ty Simpson.
none of these guys you really believe in.
Right.
You don't believe in none of these guys. Even Drew Aller, a guy who you've seen play because he's across the way. Like, you still don't believe in all of these guys. You did that with Pickett when he was at Pitt. Oh, we saw this guy. We know his character. We've watched him play. Look, the Pittsburgh Steelers, do I believe that they should draft a quarterback? Yes. Unlike Andy Reid or a Sean McVay, who I believe always is going to be, and I hate to do this to Mike McCarthy, is going to have a plan. I think their plan is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And it's and so naturally, when you start to think that way, you start to curate a roster to support that, meaning you're going to get an offensive lineman because there's some good offensive linemen you can get in the first round. You're going to bolster up that to make it look like, okay, we're going to protect you so we can push the ball down the field a little bit more than what we did last year. Don't like getting the ball out your hand so quick. I know you're older, but you got to hold on to the ball a little bit longer for us. Well, in order for him to do that, you got to be able to protect. One way to protect, you bolster up that offensive line. So I think that's the path that they're going to take. At some point, though, you do need to go get a quarterback because you can't just throw all your eggs in the basket.
Right, because even if the plan is Aaron Rodgers for this year, God willing, world ain't ending after this year, and you have to keep playing football in Pittsburgh. And Aaron Rodgers, I would think this will be his last season.
Never know.
Now, my guess is this time next year, we won't know. I don't think there's going to be some quick announcement, but you still have to have some type of succession plan.
Why do
in
you
place.
guys have against Will Howard?
It's just his 6th round pick, bro.
Just,
So was Tom Brady.
There you go. Live from New York, it's the show that flirted with abandoning the Hornets last night and their long-time fandom. Goes back to Larry Johnson, expansion era.
No, that
your fandom?
Yes.
That Hornets team
I'm
was
not so
awesome.
sure.
Yes.
The 6 starter jackets,
Yep.
the odd grandmama commercials, Muggsy
That
Bogues,
was a
Alonzo
Kendall
Mourning,
Gill,
Yep.
Alonzo,
Del Curry.
Yes,
that
was
Hornets
nice.
team was awesome.
So was this
That
team.
Hornets team's best player dressed up like an old woman and was not as silly as this Hornets team's best player. That's just true. Look it up, kids.
That worked. I was like, yeah, he's a grandma. Yeah, Larry Johnson from UNLV, yeah, he's a grandma.
That was kind
Second hour, first
Where
things
did that
first.
even come from? I don't
Today.
even know. But
Did you
if
ever
they
hear the
play-
origin story?
No,
on
that's
that?
what I meant.
The Converse origin story is crazy.
Save it for the pod.
It's a great story. Well, Larry Johnson told it better than I did. Meanwhile, it's World Cup Wednesday after we talk about Kawhi versus Steph. Some bubbling issues with U.S. soccer, but we're still confident. But
I think optimistic is a better word than confident.
I'm hopeful.
Hopefully
Hopeful is good.
optimistic.
I
Confident.
dug into our sporting director leaving.
I got to tell you, I'm leaking confidence.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's like me and the Lakers. Oh, spoiler alert, last night. While beating themselves up over a top 10 oversight, if it was an oversight. Maybe
Such a bad
Maybe
guy.
it was a change of opinion once they heard all the Steph stands.
Who
Steph's
knew he was
actually
such a
good.
big Jerry West fan?
Sorry, Nick's actually very upset about this. It was
I got accosted on the street about it.
you
This
weren't
is our
accosted.
trivia. This is our resident trivia.
Yes.
guy.
I was
Oh
accosted.
yeah, Gianna, he's
You-
out, I'm in.
You don't
Like
know
Top
what
Gun.
accosted means. I was accosted. A
I
guy
think you
walked
know
up
what
to me
accosted
and
means.
abrasively questioned me about yesterday's top 10.
Is that accosted?
Yes. Yes.
I wasn't there. So I don't,
Confirmed.
Wow.
but it sounds
It
like
is.
You're
pretty
accosting me.
aggressive.
Yes.
He was pretty
An elite group of analysts, savants, and the guy who did LaMelo's foot tattoo. It may have been a hoax. I don't know. Fought and toiled and burned the midnight oil to deliver the best segment in all sports. It's an honor and it's a privilege. It's time for play-in tiers.
Sadly, we have a new elimination. And it's not the team that should have been eliminated, but their best player got sideswiped yesterday and missed the rest of the game. They lost in overtime. Miami Heat eliminated. 11 games, Heat culture, set.
Yeah.
You know what? It's
Memorable-
good for the Heat. They
memorable
need
season.
to go a different route.
Giannis.
the-
Pat Riley's back on
Steelers
Giannis.
of the NBA.
Except
Great
they made
team.
the finals twice this
That
decade.
was,
I like
All
that
right,
take.
bottom
God,
of the
Jimmy Butler. Yeah,
That's fair. Bottom of the tiers. Put us/me out of our misery. For the Warriors, they want this season to end.
That should be the magic on there.
Well, we'll get to them in a second. The Warriors want their season to end. I want the Hornets season.
Oh, okay. That makes more
They're
sense.
young, up and coming squad.
So put us meaning the Warriors, me meaning me for the Hornets. That's what it is.
Gotcha.
They're both a game away from their season ending. Weird seasons. Clippers, Suns, Magic. Clippers, one of the weirdest seasons ever. The start 6-21, a weird scandal hovering over their star all year long that we've been promised resolution on. It's not coming. They turn it all around. They all of a sudden look dangerous. Kawhi is the best year he's had as a Clipper, yet they're in the 9-10 play-in game, hanging on for dear life. The Suns, very little expectations, felt to me like they had overachieved throughout big bulks of the year, and yet they now all of a sudden are hanging on for dear life. And the Magic, last year they won 41 games, were a play-in team, were, easily dispatched in round one. This year they were better across the board, and they all hate it. And
Desmond Bain.
Right, they trade for Desmond Bain. Paolo seemingly has peaked. There is more than smoke. There is a simmering inferno about the team. Might not love Jamal Mosley. Jamal Mosley might not love the team. I don't know.
What's going on with the Magic?
You know
that
what?
was the same. That's literally
Kevin Clark.
the same
We're
storyline.
playing your music. We need you.
Like Stan Van and Dwight. It's the same story.
They would die for that now.
Do you
At
think
least
it's
then they were
something to do with
contenders.
the fact that there's so much happiness outside of the basketball team in
Disney,
Orlando
of
because of Disney that, to balance the world out, there needs to be misery within the basketball team? Something to think about.
No.
National debuts. Denny Avdia, Scotty Barnes. Welcome to the big stage. I do think there are, just like there were a lot of people last night that were like, wait a minute. Is the Amazon audio a touch ahead of the action? Yeah, it's been like that all year. Company's worth $100 trillion. Can we get that right for the playoffs?
I get my package. They got Prime Day off. So I'm okay with the
Not
audio.
just my TV.
No, it's everybody. A lot of people also realize Denny Avdia.
He's nice.
So how many people last night were like, Denny Avdia is on the Blazers and he's awesome? True. Scotty Barnes, I think he's always been on the Raptors, but he has been the best player on a team that was consistently out of the play-in, basically right in that, what I would call kind of second-ish tier of the Eastern Conference all year long, gets an opportunity to make a big impact. 5-year fork in the road. Sixers-Hawks. 5 years ago, the Sixers and the Hawks played a Game 7. In that Game 7, Ben Simmons wouldn't shoot a layup. And the Sixers franchise has not been the same since then. The Hawks franchise ends up making a conference finals, thinks they're cooking with gas with Trae Young. He's not there anymore, and now they're good again. But that series 5 years ago set the Sixers on a path. The Hawks thought it was setting them on one path. They ended up diverting from it, which was a good thing. But that was 5 years ago in a couple weeks. What did Andy Dufresne say in the somewhat overrated but still good movie Shawshank Redemption?
Wow, what a take baked into this.
Somewhat overrated. People call it the greatest movie of all time.
It's a great movie.
It could be one of the 50 greatest movies ever and be overrated the way people talk about it. It's a great movie. I'm happy for it.
Wow.
Tim Robbins. Everybody loves Morgan Freeman. But what did he say? Hope is a good thing. Not if you're Kevin Wildes. In that case, it's like, oh, what about I'm a hamstring expert? I know all about European medicine and recovery time. Shut up. You don't know. He might come back. It's hope. He might come back.
Let me get a picture.
I
How
gotta
about
tell you
that?
something.
We got cell phones in Europe. Can I get a picture?
I gotta tell you something.
Can I get a picture of Luka?
You're all
walking
pessimistic
around
about Luka's hamstring and Austin Reeves' oblique. I don't think for $100 you could point where the oblique is.
The oblique? It's right here. It's on your
Exactly.
side.
Got it wrong. I'm just saying.
The pancreas, on the other hand,
There was a
no clue.
if he had a pancreas problem, I'd be concerned. I'm not saying the Lakers are a contender. What I'm saying is they had a 6-week stretch where they sure looked like one. Then guys got hurt. Are those guys ruled out for the season? No. Are they ruled out for the playoffs? No. Are they ruled out indefinitely? Yes. How long is indefinitely? No, literally nobody knows. It's an indefinite period of time.
What would it take?
And they have LeBron James, and they're playing a team that nobody believed in as of 2 weeks ago.
They've been hot.
The weight of expectations. Rockets, Timberwolves, Cavs. None of these teams had bad years. They all won 50 games. They all are going to have guys on the All-NBA team except for Minnesota, and that's only because Ant's going to miss eligibility. But they all had their star players have All-NBA caliber seasons. But they all went into the season saying, why aren't we making the finals? And right now, nobody, except for I guess Danny with the Cavs, believes they're making the finals, so it feels disappointing. It's a weight of expectations. Could, emphasis on the could, see you in June. Knicks or Pistons. I think the reason nobody is really, very few people outside of maybe Greg Jennings with the Pistons and Ramsey with the Knicks, believe either one of these teams can win a championship is because we don't think either one of them are going to get past Boston. But as good as Boston's been, we saw a Boston team that was just as good last year stumble in the playoffs. We just need, if something were to go awry with Boston, either of these teams obviously very easily can win the East. And if you win the East, as the Pacers showed last year, if you're in the finals, you can win the finals. I know it's a weird example because they didn't win the finals, but they could. Could see them in June. Deep pangs of regret.
Why?
It's what the Spurs and their fans are going to be feeling in about 3 weeks when Nikola Jokic is putting up 45, 15s, and 10s, and they're like, we didn't have to play this series. For some reason, we decided Wemby needed to play his 20 minutes against a Mavs team that would have started Mark Cuban if it meant losing the game, rather than a Nuggets team that we needed to beat to knock into the other side of the bracket. They have had an awesome season. They won 60 games. They have a legitimate MVP candidate. They have another legitimate All-NBA candidate in Stephon Castle. They have a Coach of the Year candidate. And I think their season's going to end 12 games from now. And it's because of what they did in Game 82. A Baker's dozen? Question mark? So, I'm about to show a graphic. Now, is this graphic to try to make up for yesterday? Maybe. These are the 12 greatest players in NBA history. We could argue about the order, and you might say, Nick,
definitely
Nick,
yes.
and you might say, Nick, is that left to right? And I would say, this one, yes, it is. But we can.
Terrible.
So we can.
You gotta get a constant again.
So here's the reason the Nuggets category is a Baker's dozen. If the Nuggets were to win the championship, you no longer can talk about the 12 greatest players ever, and not include Nikola Jokic. So Baker's dozen is 13, obviously. He's somewhere on that bottom row if they win the title. You can argue where he is, and I know Brew has Wilt lower than I do, so whatever it is. But
I think he'd have to replace Akeem.
But I think you might also have him replace ahead of Wilt. Like
Wilt Chamberlain?
He would have same range. Maybe ahead of Steph. I don't know.
Ahead of Steph, you're already on 10.
No,
Steph's got 4. I wouldn't put him.
Point is this,
friend
bro.
of the show.
He's getting in there.
He's in there. He's in there. He's one of the dozen.
With his numbers, it's just,
with his numbers, his
there's
MVPs,
no way.
what looks like might be 6 consecutive top 2 MVP finishes if they win the championship. His face is somewhere on that graphic, and somebody's face is coming off it. Just what it is. It has the rules.
Yeah,
Rules.
it has to.
True team effort. And back to the tiers. Leave it up there. So I didn't forget anybody this time. True team effort. And by that I mean Brad Stevens, the GM, Joe Mazzulla, the coach, Jaylen Brown, Baylor Shireman, Derek White, the damn team trainer, Jason Tatum, everybody had to come together for this Celtics season to be what it is. The depth acquired by Brad Stevens, the absolutely compete every single night instilled by Mazzulla, Jaylen Brown taking a leap in leadership and in ability, all those guys, and this is a real, all 15 guys and the whole staff together. And then atop the tiers, but with a question mark, maybe, just maybe, getting a bit ahead of ourselves. I mean, dynasties and Michael Jordan, and could they win 4 in a row? And
I thought about 3 in a row.
They're the best team. They're the favorite. They're the deepest team. They have the MVP. But we maybe are getting a tiny bit ahead of ourselves. Brew, sorry for how long it was. That's the latest tier.
The names, of course. Who is it? What's his name? Marshall?
Marshall's for football, but that's fine.
Outstanding.
It's Bob for the NFL.
Bob, that's right. Bob. Bob's the only one on the committee with a...
No, oddly, the NFL committee has very unique
Thurgood,
names. Yes,
Marshall.
exactly. The NBA committee has more monosyllabic names. That's just how that worked out.
All right, first of all, bonus take. All right? The bonus take is
This should be behind a
Detroit
paywall.
is ahead of the Knicks. Detroit's one line above the Knicks. Because, I'm sorry, Ramsey, the Knicks want no piece of Detroit.
They did beat them in the playoffs.
I know, but Detroit was a young team that didn't know what they were doing, just happy to be there. And they gave them all they want. A couple breaks here or there, and that could have been the Pistons winning that series. This year, the Pistons have called the Knicks out and gone and blasted them every year, every time they played. So, Knicks, I don't think can beat the Pistons.
Okay.
That's what it is. So I put them ahead of them. But my real take, let's put Denver and San Antonio on the same line because, look, for how long? 40 some odd minutes of that game. And this is Dusty. What does he say?
Here's a nugget. I'm spurning Knicks tears.
Okay. Well, he gave away the finale, which was move Denver and San Antonio together, and they're both ahead of Boston.
Oh.
But here's why they're even. Because I am not so convinced at all that Denver's going to beat the Spurs. Because for 40 some odd minutes of that epic game a few weeks ago, Wemby was outplaying Jokic, and the Spurs were outplaying the Nuggets. And then, of course, Jokic got him late in the game. So I think that's going to be just a battle that either team could win. But I think the 3 best teams are OKC, Denver, and San Antonio. So I'm moving them ahead of Boston, drop Boston down.
That's an okay take.
Because here's the deal. I'm not sure who I'm going to pick. But the Knicks match up very well with the Celtics.
What?
I could find myself picking the Knicks.
I mean, I
over the
agree
Celtics.
that the Knicks match up well with the Celtics.
They got the wing defenders to defend them.
Did Ramsey threaten you or something? You've been doubting the Knicks all year.
They have the wing defenders to match up with them. And look, those guys in Boston, Shireman, Jordan, Walsh, this is their first rodeo in the postseason. Let's see what they do. They might freeze up a little. So I give the Knicks a shot in that series.
That was good, and the good bonus take.
Thank you.
I want to be optimistic, and I started this year saying I was going to be optimistic.
and
because
that
sometimes
lasted.
I'm
that
the
was
Lakers hater.
The
I
first
don't
time
want
I
to
quit smoking, it lasted a day.
My Lakers optimism is waning. You know, it's nice out, right?
Yeah.
Outside? You've seen that?
Yeah.
Well, no, you're inside studying. You're trying to make up for your step stuff. I'm out there riding my bike now in my little outfit.
And your unitard?
Yeah, well, it's 2 pieces, but yes.
The helmet and everything.
Well, a helmet, yeah, that's not really a troll job. I wear a helmet.
Elbow pads, the flashers.
I don't wear a helmet. I have 2 bicycles, okay? If I get a flat tire on one, you'll see me on the side of the road, okay. I look confident. I look ridiculous, but I'm confident. If I get a flat tire on my other bike, where I can't get the tube off of the stupid rim, I'm a mess. Because I know I'm screwed. That was Luka's reaction when he pulled his hamstring. Nobody wants to address that. He knew his season was over. When he grabbed it, he's like, ah! He wasn't like, oh yeah, Spain. He knows Spain exists. He played for Real Madrid for a long time. He's like, oh, you know what? All good. I'll miss a few games. Maybe I'll miss the first 2 games. Pop on over to Spain, have some, tapas, have some jamon, get my trainer to work on my hamstring, come on back, score 30, beat the Rockets, move on. He didn't think that. Guess who else doesn't think that? JJ Redick. Take a listen.
I mean, look, they're out indefinitely. I'm not going to have an update for you this week. They're out indefinitely.
He's done, dude.
He looks crestfallen.
He's done.
Hold on, Dustin. Give me 6 seconds. 2 quick replies. Luka was crestfallen. Is it possible that what he knew for certain was, whatever hope I had of stealing this MVP or All-NBA or my regular season's over. I'm playing the best ball in my career, my regular season's over, and that was part of it. That's at least on the board. It's at least possible.
I'll entertain it.
Here's the other thing. Could he, the day he got hurt, if they said he's out a month, do you think he would have been devastated about that? I think he would have been. 1 month, 27 days after the injury, put up the schedule, is game 5. He got hurt on
a month after? Wow.
27 days after he got hurt on April 2nd. Game 5 is April 29th. That's 27 days later. So he could miss huge time and be back given how this series...
7 days is not a month.
It's 4 weeks.
And it's like a month, it was like 4 to 6 weeks.
So we took February.
Wendy the other day called it 3 to 5. I'm just telling you what he called it. I've heard 4 to 6. I've heard a month to 2 months. I don't know.
27 days?
I don't know.
Have you heard 3 weeks and
you
some change?
You know what I've heard? 3 semanas. That's right. That's what they were telling him while he was doing it, injecting him in Spain.
That's right.
I don't know. Like, he'll be back. Thank you. Gianna knows.
No.
Yeah, she knows.
It's Kawhi playing his last game as a Clipper. Wow. Maybe. Next. Saturday Night Baseball on Fox. This week, Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves taking on Bryce Harper and the Phillies, or Rangers Mariners. Baseball night in America, Saturday, 7 Eastern, only on Fox. Welcome back to the show. We're headed back to Charlotte, where the Hornets win, but Con Knippel watched the latter parts of the game. He was 0 for 6 from 3, 2 for 12 from the field. He was benched late and then watched all of OT. Is this something or nothing?
It's something, and I'm not trying to, it's something good, though. I mean, like, the fact, and you touched on it earlier, Nick, Charles Lee, who's a very good coach, I think, for them, his guts to go ahead and bench Knippel, because a lot of people would have just been like, hey, this is our, lottery pick. He's had a great season. And some coaches, understandably, would have been like, he's going to hit his next one. Yep. He will get hot, which I get that. But Charles Lee was able to see he's lacking confidence. He's not in the flow, whatever it is. And he was a minus 20 over the course of the evening, which I think was the worst on the team. So getting him out of there, I thought was a bold move. It's not, they haven't lost faith in him. I'm sure the next game he'll play a lot, assuming he's like, this is not an indictment on his season or his career. But I just think it was a smart move in the moment. And here's the thing. It wasn't just last night. Knippel has seemingly hit that rookie wall. Like, maybe nerves played a role last night, understandably. But I think he also may have hit the rookie wall. So you see it there, Nick, which is and I get it. It's only 5 games.
It's a huge drop.
In April, yeah,
even in April. Rookie wall or not, it's a slump.
Yeah, and even for the month of April, which is a little longer than the 5 games, it's 14 points a game, 39% shooting. This is a guy, it's low 30s from 3, and he's been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league. So he's clearly, I think, hit the rookie wall, which is one reason a lot of people have Cooper Flagg moving ahead of him. But, I don't think it's huge on his part.
So I think it takes on a totally different tenor because they pulled the game out. Because people can say, oh, man, Kobe White, was playing great. Man, it wasn't just Kobe White in there. One of the biggest shots of the Hornets season was an open corner 3 taken by Grant Williams.
Yeah.
You weren't just going, it's not like, well, we have 6 future, guys we're building around, so one's going to be. And had they lost and he was benched, it would have really, it's like the only thing other than an injury that I think could have put a somewhat sour taste on this wonderful season by him. And that's why I thought it was such a courageous gambit by Charles Lee, because it certainly is the type of thing that if they lose, again, I don't know that, how Hornets ownership does things or Hornets front office, how meddling they are or not, but that's the type of, you get way more questions if they lose that game with Knipple on the bench than if you lose that game because Knipple shoots you out of it. You know what I mean? Like, Charles Lee is not going to, I don't think anyone's going to, if Knipple ended up going 2 for 17 and 0 for 9 from 3, I don't think there would be a lot of people within the building like, what the hell? Why'd you leave him in there? Because he has been the story of the season. I was stunned by it. Stan Van Gundy was stunned by it. And I just don't think, I think the only circumstances in which almost any coach would do it is because he's a rookie. I think any other player who has been, one of your best players all year long, you could argue, somewhere second or third best player throughout the season, kind of the story of your year in a do or die game, unless it was like, oh, they're showing bad effort or they look like they're hurt.
No.
You just leave them in. And so I thought I couldn't believe it when it was happening in real time. And I really do wonder what the conversation is if Kobe White misses that 3.
Yeah.
That 3 was an unbelievable play. Yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't out there for that, even if it wasn't drawn up for him. Coming out of the timeout, there was a shot of him, and I remember saying, I was like, ooh, it's a little bit like we talk about LeBron. I don't know if you've ever been in this situation before. Game
your
on
team
the
needs
line,
a 3.
and you're just, team needs a 3, and you're sitting on the bench watching it happen. For what it's worth, at the end of the game, he did seem to be in high spirits. I was wondering if there was going to be any,
he should not lose confidence or feel bad like coach doesn't believe in me. I think he just has to look at it as it was a bad game. It wasn't my night, and I got to bounce back Thursday.
I will say this. I agree with you. He shouldn't. But the next game is also a winner go home game. And if he starts the next game off 0 for 3, is he shaking a bit?
He's got to keep shooting.
Like that, it's just
And he did. I mean, he was 0 for 6, which I get 6 and maybe a lot for him, but 0 for 6, he kept shooting.
LaMelo
kept
16
shooting.
and made 2.
LaMelo would not worry about that.
No, maybe that's what LaMelo's like, hey, keep shooting. All right, NBA awards ballots are delayed as the league debates the merits of Luka's 65-game exception because he went over to Europe for the birth of his child. Regular season awards, of course, but you can't turn a blind eye, Brew, to the current action, like Denny scoring 41 and Khan being benched for Rookie of the Year. So, are you okay if the play-in games affect the ballots?
Well, it won't. I don't think they're going to affect my ballot. Like, I had Cooper Flag ahead of Khan Knipple. Obviously, last night didn't help Khan, but I think I was going to go with Cooper anyway, so that won't be affected, and Khan will be second. And then Jaime Jaquez, who wasn't great he was all right, 13 points, 8 assists, I think 6 rebounds. But I think he's going to be my 6th man of the year. So last night won't affect that. It's him, Keldon Johnson from the Spurs battling it out. But for those that do change based on what we've seen, I'm not mad about it. It is obviously a regular season award, but if you saw some of these races are so close that and honestly, you could pick either guy in some of these races. 3rd team All-NBA or, defensive team, second team all defense, whatever it might be. And so I think if you see a little something in a guy and it's in a pressure situation and it makes you go with, you know what, I'm going to go with him over so-and-so, I don't have a big problem with it.
Yeah, I know it's not supposed to happen. Like the league would tell you. The league doesn't give you a lot of guidance on these awards, but one of them is they are regular season awards. And typically, tell me if I'm wrong, you guys have to have your vote submitted before these games start. Like in years past, right? Like they're due Tuesday night.
No, the talk was we might get them Tuesday. Yeah, Yeah, 6 p.m. Tuesday was the earliest they might be due, so that would have been before.
Right, and so it is the Luka appeal. Like, two weird things have happened in play-in this week. One is because the Flyers had a home game, that's why the Eastern Conference 7-8 game is today instead of yesterday.
Oh.
And so the 9-10 teams are not supposed to have the extra day of rest. But in the East they do, because the Flyers already had the arena for Tuesday, so the Sixers had to play tonight. And the other thing is Luka's appeal threw off when these votes are coming in. And I absolutely think that this might end up swinging Rookie of the Year. I think because Khan's the argument for Khan was he's been part of winning basketball.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He is directly contributing to winning, and
he's been such a great
and he's been
such broke the record
right. All of
rookies.
that. I think this was oddly like for his Rookie of the Year case, kind of like the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Where they win without him. He gets benched. All of a sudden, how many people, even people who are voters who are dialed in, were really dialed in. Oh, he slumped at the end of the year. It was small, but now it's focused on that. Now, the flip side is, I guess this could be bad for someone else. I do think this might swing Avdia onto some third-team All-NBAs. I think that,
everybody should have had him in consideration, and you're right.
Exactly. Like, so if you were debating...
Like playoff team.
Right. If you were debating him and someone else, now they are officially a playoff team. You didn't know that before. He had, maybe the best game of his career, all things considered, last night. Like, there is a human nature aspect of this, which if the NBA really wanted to make sure this couldn't happen, they would have just made the voters' job a little harder. They would have said, hey, you have to submit 2 ballots. Luka eligible, Luka not eligible, they're due Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like two sets of ballots. It wouldn't affect anything except for MVP and All-NBA. But give us your ballot if Luka's eligible, give us your ballot if he's not, and then and they're due Tuesday. Once the NBA says these games are going to happen, you can't ask people to unsee what's happened.
The delay in the Luka ruling is odd.
I mean, it's not that long, bro. It's been 2 days.
What do we do?
But it came
48.
out.
You need 48 hours to
knew
discuss.
Yeah, but they said they
couldn't.
couldn't actually.
Joining us now on World Cup Wednesday, Dax McCarty. Dax, thanks for joining us. Going to jump right in. Talk about our superstar, Christian Pulisic. He's on a bit of a goals drought, 107 days since he scored. Is this something to worry about?
In the near term, yes. It's definitely concerning, especially coming off the backs of this March window for the U.S. men's national team, where they struggled in the attack. There's no question about it. But I think long term, with 2 months to go to the World Cup, Christian Pulisic going to get plenty of games with his club team, AC Milan. I don't worry about Christian Pulisic and his readiness to step on the field when the lights are going to shine brightest and perform for the U.S. men's national team. It is a little concerning at the moment, and there are some things going on in his personal life that might be affecting him in different ways. It's funny, we always joke about soccer has really made it in this country when TMZ is reporting on your best player. But as far as on the field, he's definitely in a little bit of a goal drought right now. As long as he stays fit, as long as he stays healthy going into the World Cup, he just needs one goal to get a little bit of confidence. I don't have any concerns about his quality heading into this tournament.
One guy who's not struggling right now is Balogun for one of my favorite teams in the world, Monaco. I mean, it's really one of my just favorite places in the world.
Yes, I didn't know you were
I mean, it's one of the Monte Carlo.
Monte
Monte Carlo is one of the greatest cities in the world.
I was going to say a lot of gambling.
I mean, race car driving, gambling, good soccer. It's pretty good. Is there a chance that by the time the World Cup actually gets going, he's our best player?
First of all, Nick, you need to invite me next time you go to Monaco. Okay?
Well, every August, I'll see you at Casino Monte Carlo at the craps table. About August 15th every year. I'd love to see you.
As it concerns Balogun, I absolutely think there's a chance he could be our most important player heading into this World Cup. You have a couple different position groups where the competition is fierce. At center back, Chris Richards, irreplaceable, one of our best players and most important players. Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie. But Fuller and Balogun has really stepped up and made the number 9 role his own. He's scoring goals. He's in good form, unlike Christian Pulisic with his club team. And he's playing with confidence. I'd argue one of the most important things you need heading into a World Cup, especially one at home, is a striker that's in good form with just brimming with confidence. And so you see the goal on your screen now. That's a striker that believes he can score in any which way. And so it's a tremendous finish. He's absolutely at the top of the depth chart for our number 9 position. And if the structure is right behind him, if we stay organized and get him chances, he is going to put the ball in the back of the net. I have no question about that.
Pochettino has not minced words. I mean, he said we don't have a top 100 player. I don't know if that was just to light a fire or what, but what's been your evaluation of him so far?
Yeah, it's been really inconsistent from Mauricio Pochettino. One thing that I really appreciate about him and just his type of coach in general is the fact that he doesn't sugarcoat things. He's very honest in press conferences and sometimes a little bit too honest. But when you're analyzing a team, sometimes he gives you probably more than you expect. And so I thought Pochettino, his start to his tenure was a little bit choppy, a little bit inconsistent. He struggled to figure out the connections on the field and the formation to play to get the best out of this group. But then he had a run of 5 games last year where everything was clicking. He put 3 center backs on the field. He played with wide wing backs, and he let our attacking players be central and almost interpret different spaces. In the U.S., won 4 games and drew 1, and it looked like we had figured out what was going to be the best way forward for this team. But then he scrapped all that, and in the March window, he went back and reverted back to the formation where we struggled initially when he first started. So it's a little confusing. I wanted to go into this window and go into this World Cup with a lot of answers to some of the questions I had. After this window, I actually have more questions now than answers. And so hopefully Pochettino knows what he's doing going into this tournament, and he has those answers. Hopefully he shows those answers to us in these friendlies before the World Cup.
Dax, you know I'm a Gio Reyna guy. Did you guys know I'm a Gio Reyna guy?
We knew. I don't think Dax.
Dax, I'm a Gio Reyna guy.
Dax, that's very nice of you to say that.
Here's why. Yeah. It's a little bit like the NFL, where the most popular guy is the backup quarterback. The idea of just hope and if he got some more burn, we would really take off. Hasn't been getting a ton of minutes. Doesn't even get a ton of minutes on his club squad. He's played 21 against Belgium, played 12 against Portugal. Yeah. I just believe in this guy, and I have for a while, and maybe it's just the lineage, maybe it's the last World Cup. What are your thoughts on seeing Gio out there?
Yeah, I think Gio Reyna is one of the most talented players that we have and that we have produced in this country. The issue becomes when you are a talented player and maybe a young player who's inexperienced and who's gone through some hardships in the past, you struggle for consistency. And so Gio Reyna, the most important thing is that he gets on the field for his club team, so he has that fitness and that sharpness. He's struggled to stay healthy, guys, and that has been the biggest criticism for me of Gio Reyna. And then when he's gotten on the field for the U.S. men's national team, he's proven that he's a game changer. One of my biggest frustrations with Pochettino from this last camp was that you bring in Gio Reyna, you show him that, hey, I have faith in you, I trust you, even though you're not playing a ton for your club team, and then he only plays him about 30 minutes. I want to see what Gio Reyna can do under Pochettino and if he can be the game changer that I think he can be, that clearly Kevin thinks he can be. And it's frustrating when he doesn't get the time that I think he has earned in the past. And now whether Pochettino will rely on him more in the World Cup is anyone's guess. But when you're in these big moments, in these big games, and you need someone to come and change a game where the margins are very, very thin, Gio Reyna has that talent. He has proven it in the past. It's just going to come down to how Pochettino sees him.
It factor.
Well, sure.
That's for me. It factor for real. He's just
exactly.
got it.
I'd like to ask one non-U.S. men's national team question. The team I picked to win the World Cup every 4 years is Brazil. And Brazil basically, over the last 20 years, has stopped looking like Brazil at the World Cup. What chances do you give them to return to what is their country's birthright, which is winning this damn tournament?
Yeah, I don't blame you, Nick. Jogo Bonito, you're a big fan of Jogo Bonito. Well, that died about 20 years ago, okay? I've got to be honest. Brazil, when you think of Brazil, they've won the most World Cups out of any country in the history of the World Cup, 5. But since 2002, I don't think they've looked as competitive as they should. They've got 2 world-class attacking players in Vini Jr. and Rafinha, who are playing at some of the biggest clubs in the world. But after that, there's not a lot to get excited about when it comes to this Brazilian men's national team. And the flair that you associate with a Brazil, the excitement, the attacking play, that just doesn't occur anymore. And Carlo Ancelotti is one of the best managers in the world, but he's still struggling to figure out what his best team is, where his best players fit, the connections on the field. Brazil, they look a lot more like a pragmatic, robotic.
Yeah, that's not what we want. We want them out there dancing. We want them dancing and doing cool Nike commercial stuff like when I was growing up. That's what we want.
Exactly right. That's what we remember with R9 and Rivaldo and Kaká, the types of superstars that you associate with Brazil. I'd put them in the tier below the favorites. France, Portugal, England, Spain. I think those are the favorites. Argentina is the defending World Cup champion. Of course, you're going to throw them in there. Brazil is in the tier just underneath them. Can they make a run, Nick? Absolutely. Of course they can. Do I expect them to? I don't expect them to make it to the semifinal.
You just got absolutely cooked, dude.
What do you mean I got cooked?
Dax, it was nice. It was kind analysis, but you just got smoked.
What he
right
basically said
television.
is Brazil is the Gio Reyna of this World
No,
Cup.
Gio Reyna's got the it factor.
So does Brazil.
He's saying, Dax saying Brazil used to. Okay. You're just still in love with Ronaldinho's Nike commercial.
Okay, all right, whatever.
Dax, thank you very much. It's 57 days to the World Cup. We'll see you as we get closer to kickoff.
Thanks for having me, guys.
More first things first after the break. Yeah, he cooked you. Live from New York, first things first, overtime. Are we going to do the Oregon story? Do you hear that Oregon story? They've been playing in Oregon in Atlanta to get ready for the Garden.
I don't think you say that word properly.
Yeah, you
keep saying it like it's a state.
Oregon.
There you go.
I just said that.
No,
I thought you were talking about a state of the Pacific.
Yeah,
Northwest.
like
Oregon at first.
Again, let's just do the show that we are doing.
Highest draft priority. Well, it's overtime.
Yeah.
This was a play I wanted to run in regulation.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure. Got it. Fair
Meanwhile,
enough.
as Fernando Mendoza stepping into a sneaky good situation with the Raiders.
Really?
Not good.
In the AFC West.
But sneaky good. Yeah, maybe. And finally,
Raiders.
Stats are cool. Feature, you know what? And you know what's cool? Teamwork. Oh. Last night, I stumbled across a stat, sent it to Danny Parkins.
He did.
And it made the cut?
I don't know if it made it.
It didn't.
Oh, you're kidding me!
It didn't.
Really?
Well, I thought we'd be timely with the NBA playoffs starting.
What was he
I mean, that
sending
does
you
make
stats
sense,
about the population of Oregon?
Actually, it was.
You know what's cool, Danny? Independence.
Oh, wow.
Bro.
Making that decision.
That
What
is.
about Bobby Witt Jr.?
Yeah, it was an anti-royal stat.
You out of your mind?
That would have been.
I thought it was relevant. I thought it would be good. Poor Bobby Witt Jr. just standing on second base all by himself. He scored 1 run. He's on base every game.
Let's
do the show.
That
What's
is
cool?
quite
Being
a
alone.
I even wrote it in everything.
Yeah, he wrote the whole bit.
LaMelo grabs Bam's leg. Bam hits the ground. He's out for the game. Hornets win. Spo is furious. Here's Tyler Hero.
I've played with Bam for a long time now, and I usually never really seen him like limp like that, or he's usually a guy who just stays in. So that's tells you how much pain he was in. He can still barely walk back there, and I saw the video. He fell really hard, and I hope he gets right.
If you saw the video, what did you think of the play?
I mean, we all know it was not the right play.
Just change your view of LaMelo.
I mean, not really, because I do not think of like picture of professionalism and LaMelo Ball. You know what I mean? It's not exactly two things that go together. It was an indefensibly dirty play.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
You surprised by that?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you right
fine.
away, but I thought the physics of it, and they talked about it in the post game. Like, Bam weighs 255 pounds. I just don't think it was and it's like LaMelo's offhand. I don't think he was like could do that without. I think there's an element of bad luck to it.
Well, him getting.
If I'm
hurt.
standing there, you cannot knock me down with your left hand, and I'm me.
But I'm going down.
That's what I'm saying. That's why there's an element of bad luck.
Yeah, but
there's an element of bad luck.
Yeah,
to almost all
9 times
injuries.
out of 10, he probably doesn't get hurt on that fall, but he landed right on his tail.
Yeah, listen, there's a big tree fall hard component, and he was falling, but I don't think he gets injured. Big guys know how to fall. Professional athletes know how to fall. And then when you fall in a way that you are not expecting because someone takes your leg out, or contributes to your leg coming out from under him, I definitely think it contributed to the injury. And listen, I think he needs to be suspended.
Really?
Absolutely.
Wow.
And
the precedent isn't there.
I know. And like, you teach your kid like an eye for an eye is not the right kind of justice, but just common sense. If Bam doesn't get hurt, the Heat win.
I mean, you don't know that though. I mean, you just don't.
The game goes to overtime. It's a one-point game.
It's a one. Yeah, but it would have been entirely different. It's a one game. Obviously, Bam is their best player. Good chance they win, but you
don't know for certain. But it certainly was. Like,
we've all watched a lot of basketball.
It's just not as simple as saying, hey, they lost a close game with Bam, they win. I mean,
it happened early in the game.
It certainly greatly damaged their chance of winning. I think
it was a loss. There's no doubt.
And so our eyes tell us what it was. And the team that lost their best player early, their season's over. And now the Hornets get to go forward. Maybe it's archaic, maybe it's barbaric, but
I don't think it's barbaric.
It seems fair.
What you're saying, by the way, is how the criminal justice system works. By the way, if you and I commit the same violation driving our car, and I drive into a tree and you drive into a person, we're doing the exact same thing, your penalty is harsher than mine. There's a lot of things where
but you don't,
the reaction...
you don't always get the death penalty.
No, I'm not saying... No, of course. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of things where the same action gets different penalties based on the impact of the action.
Yeah, the outcome.
And so what I think Danny's saying is, if LaMelo did that, the video looked the exact same, and Bam had gotten up and played the rest of the game, you wouldn't be calling for a suspension.
Of course not.
And so his action's the same.
It's probably not even
talking about it because then it's a flagrant one early in a game and a guy didn't get hurt. But it's the right. I'm saying if they would have called it. But it's the playoffs, man. And now his season's over.
First of all, to answer the question, it does change my view of LaMelo because I think I was the one on the show that said he's silly. He's a silly player.
Yes.
But this was dirty. And the attention that this has gotten, and a lot of people hadn't even thought about what he did to Bam 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we run
so now everybody is seeing that and then this. And so he goes from being
this is the one too
a guy that's silly.
This one is
that's dirty too. So a guy that's silly and immature to a guy that's silly and immature and dirty. Now he won't be in the Dylan Brooks, Draymond Green category just yet, but this starts to kind of put you there, and so it does change my view of him in that regard. I don't think he'll get suspended. I don't think he should. I think he'll get a flagrant one. And I'm going to be honest, too. This is also a business. And LaMelo Ball, people do want to see him play, particularly young people.
Oh.
And I don't know if the NBA, you don't always take that into account. No. But you remember when OKC was playing Boston a few weeks ago and they ejected Jaylen Brown? And that was a premature ejection. But part of the uproar about that was we wanted to see the two best teams play at full strength. And I don't think anybody wants to see LaMelo Ball not playing this game.
Listen, I will not say it's unfair if they suspend him. I wouldn't have thought it was unfair if they eject him. I also, given the precedent of it, Embiid did something at least as bad, if not worse, that Mitchell Robinson ended up playing a little bit more that playoffs, and the Knicks weren't instantly eliminated, but he wasn't the same, and Embiid got a flagrant one. So I understand I'm not going to raise hell if they don't suspend him, and I'm not even certain, had they reviewed it, that they would have thrown him out. Maybe because Bam got hurt, it's a flagrant 2, maybe it's just a flagrant 1. But this does change how I view LaMelo Ball, because I used to just think he was an unserious, immature player, and now I didn't know about the Bam play before. You know what I mean? I didn't know that had happened, but those 2 plays are 2 shockingly similar of him, and not even because it's really weird it's against the same guy, because I don't think he has like a history of like not liking Bam.
No, I don't know if there's another.
There may be others. I mean, it may have come out.
But I mean, the fact that he fell down, got pissed, and tried to trip the guy going up the court. And when we started regulation, I said one thing that Brew instantly encouraged me to take back, and I'm glad he did, where I said he'll always be a clown. Because that's unfair to say about anyone if they're 55 years old, much less 24, 25 years old. So I do not underestimate anyone's ability to change as they grow up or whatever it is. But I have not seen LaMelo Ball's decision-making, behavior improve along the lines of his NBA career. And I know some of it is like silly internet videos, but I think we've all seen the compilation of the 12 different cars, and everybody can have cool cars, that's fine, but that he rips out of the Hornets parking garage with no regard for people on the street, through red lights at 50 miles an hour immediately. We all saw the video of him drive into someone. You see a pattern of devil may care, what the hell ever behavior that has really been, you've seen, specks of it throughout, and we've all seen him kind of grow up in the public eye, which can be hard for people. And it does seem that money and fame have only exacerbated it. And it's the weird player who his off-court decision-making actually tracks perfectly to his on-court decision-making. As far as it's like, wait, what are you doing? That's a silly basketball play. Those are silly decisions. And even things that don't actually matter but do. The dropping an F-bomb to Cassidy Hubbard in the post-game interview live. Like that's...
Without even kind of
that's his thing. He does that.
Without, like sometimes when guys curse because they just curse a lot, they're like, oh, my bad, or sorry about that.
No,
there is none of that. And KW made this point earlier, and I just want to reiterate it. And people are going to be mad. This one I don't really care about. You can say, as the grandfather of the show, that I'm just an old cranky man. But you show me the team whose in NBA history, whose best player was silly to the point of clownish and immature, that achieved great success. There is a level of being a leader of anything that takes being an adult. And he has more in common from that stuff to a lot of these streamer kids than the best players in NBA history. And that's a shame for a guy who Bruce said yesterday has Hall of Fame talent.
I mean, he did win the game. We're at 11 minutes now, but he won the game. Him and Denny won the game. I mean, he also contributed to a losing game with a turnover and a silly foul and some bad defense and some.
He does a lot.
But he also, it's a game. It's a buzzer beater.
I'm not doubting that his natural talent is enough for him to be able to pull a 9-10 play-in game out of the fire. I do doubt whether or not that is enough to overcome his own decision-making and maturity issues to get the Hornets anywhere close they want to be now that they have real other talent on the roster. And adding dirty player to his ledger is not something I saw coming.
Yeah, are you considering him a dirty player from now on?
It's just now on the board, right? It's not Dylan Brooks. Right, it's not Draymond Green. We don't have 15 incidents here.
Yeah.
And he showed contrition after the game, at least when that was brought up.
Kind of.
Right. Like I'm going to check.
Yeah, I don't know if that was. I don't want to judge too far. Motives, but it just didn't feel like I don't even know what happened. I mean, really, you don't know what you clearly were. There's no doubt he tripped him on purpose. So, and you brought up, Nick, just quickly, the cars and rip. they have and I'm sure they have talked to him about this. They have a tragic history in Charlotte with Bobby Fields and David Wesley. I covered Bobby Fields when he played for Cleveland, and he was a friend, and he died,
If
drag
people don't know,
racing
two
in Charlotte.
Hornets players 30 years ago were drag racing, one of them died.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, move on to the other play-in. Blazers, Spurs, Sunday at 9 Eastern. Spurs are heavy faves. Over/under for this series at 5.5. What are the chances the Blazers take it to 6?
So I don't think it's very high, but there's like one path, I guess, that I see. Like, if Wemby isn't 100%, and both of these teams they have at least one thing in common that we've talked about a ton with the Spurs, and we just don't really talk a lot about with the Blazers because we don't talk a lot of Blazers, but they don't have a lot of experience.
Right.
They don't have a lot of playoff experience. Like, if you just say like their top 3 scorers in terms of playoff games played, we pulled it, and it's
just Fox.
It's just Fox, and that's for the top 7 guys for the Spurs, because then you get to Harrison Barnes at 8. For the Blazers, if you get to their 4th leading scorer, it's Drew Holiday, who has a ton. Who has a ton, obviously. But it's just, is it on the board of outcomes that Denny Avdia, who had the amazing game last night, is a guy who raises up in the playoffs, and for whatever reason, Stephon Castle isn't, and that can just be some sort of neutralizer in this series? Maybe, but probably the Spurs are just
Can I ask you a question, Bruce? The other thing that occurred to me about the Spurs series was watching the Hornets game. And I'm like, ooh, I wonder if any of the Spurs' excellent young players are going to deal with what I think Khan dealt with a bit.
I thought
which is a combination of long season plus first big spot, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's not quite as easy as it was. Like that could be an unknown for Avdia, except we just saw Avdia, in that moment be great. But go ahead.
I thought the same thing. I mean, I don't expect the Spurs young players to go through what Con Knipple did, but you never know. I mean, I wouldn't have predicted Knipple would have been that bad and that shook, if you will. So you just don't know. And I think the Spurs will take them out in 5. But it might not be the worst thing for them if it goes. I mean, really, you need to go through some adversity. And a lot of times, not just a young team, but when a team first comes together, the Boston Big Three with Garnett, Allen, and Pierce went 7 in the first round and the second round. So sometimes that can be, and they won the championship. Sometimes that can be good. You can learn from it, and they need to learn some things. So it wouldn't be the worst thing if the Blazers give them a little trouble.
So if it gets to 6, you're like, oh, this is okay.
As long as they win Game 6.
Okay, 7.
I won't trip if it's going into Game 6.
But that is a change from.
But they better win.
I think that also is a testament to how impressed you must have been with the Blazers yesterday. Because when we talked about this series, about Blazers Suns, and about who could give the Spurs trouble, our general feeling, I think, as a whole was,
Suns,
and if the Blazers win and the Spurs don't dispatch of them easily, it's a problem. But you see Denny Avdia go do what he did, it's like, that could be a problem for somebody for a game or two.
5:16 on a Wednesday, which means, of course, it is time for one of the coolest segments in all of sports. And I know you're thinking.
And the highest maintenance. 6 people involved.
Several people. Troy is now underneath the table. Why we need several people to do all this stuff, nobody knows. The gloves are never on in time.
Yeah.
It's time now for Packed Stats. Let's see if the glove can get on. No, he's going one-handed.
It's purposeful.
Don't rush greatness.
Here we go. The glove is still.
Danny, what's cool?
Thanks for asking, Nick.
Yeah.
Spreading your wings.
Wow.
It comes out hot.
That is cool.
Hawks. Get it? They got wings. Yeah, the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, wow.
How about this?
Upset?
Could be a problem for the Knicks because it is the greatest second half post All-Star break improvement of the last 20 years.
Wow.
They went from a team that won 46% of their games before the break to nearly 77% of their games after the All-Star break. And you see there an improvement of over 30% in the win percentage, best by any team since 2005. So they're not just hot, they are historically hot in terms of improvement heading into the postseason.
Cool stuff.
I would add something to that.
By all
the
means.
reason this might feel sturdier than other teams that have had great second halves Because there's a reason for it. They realized we need to finally rip the Band-Aid off of the Trae Young era, move on, hand the car keys to Jalen Johnson, get a real adult in C.J. McCollum, do those things. So they are a different team as well. And so...
Also,
go ahead.
Here's a highlight of them playing the Nets.
No, well, yes.
Listen, that helped for a lot of teams. No question about it.
But I do think that was a bold move by Atlanta's front office when they didn't get a great return back, and I think it's proving, paying real dividends.
No doubt. Look, I don't think they'll beat the Knicks. I think the Knicks win in 6. I think you guys have 7. At least Nick has 7. But if the Knicks lose this, then you know what? Shame on them for being the 3rd seed. That's the thing. Tatum out most of the year. Detroit kind of coming out. You should not have been the 3rd seed. Going into this season, I don't think any of us would have thought they're going to be the 3rd seed.
No.
So,
not if they were healthy and they were healthy.
Right.
And Danny, before you go, did you hear how Atlanta is preparing for the Knicks?
How?
They're playing the organ in practice.
The Oregon theme music.
Dump, 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 dump. Defense.
Nobody likes that story, and they really don't like it because it's confusing. They're like,
Why is it confusing?
If you said
because
Oregon,
you
I
don't
would get
say
it,
the
but you
word
said
right,
Oregon.
bro.
Oregon.
Oregon.
The green and yellow?
You think there's...
Hey, Brew, you know what else is cool?
What?
Thanks for asking. Banners.
Oh, yeah.
A little trivia question associated with this one, boys. If you win a lot of playoff games, you're supposed to have something to show for it. Most playoff wins last 3 postseasons combined. You got 3 champions up there and a runner-up.
Those playoff wins?
Most playoff wins last 3 years.
The Knicks.
Boom. Sky. Can't beat me in real trivia, but it beats me in this one. Nice job. The New York Knicks. Side take, have some respect for your banners at Madison Square Garden.
Don't do this take.
Billy Joel.
Billy Joel,
Time.
Harry Styles,
Time.
Fish. We got division banners from 1993.
We're not
Come on,
at Wrigley
Knicks.
Field anymore. You got to go.
Not a lot of championship banners. I'm
about-
sorry.
Not a lot of we got division
You gotta
title
put
banners
something
and
up there.
concerts.
You go to a Billy
Knicks
Joel
need to hang a real banner.
You
this
got to
year.
go to a Billy Joel concert in the Garden. Well, you
got to put something up
sunglasses.
there.
Go ahead.
Well, listen, the Knicks, we talk about the pressure that's on them. They have accomplished a lot in the playoffs to not really accomplish a lot. So why?
So what does hang a banner mean?
You have to win the East.
Okay, make the finals.
Or sell out the Garden.
Sell out the Garden for 12 straight shows.
I'm not standing for Billy Joel Garden Slam.
I've been to multiple Billy Joel concerts.
You've been to multiple?
Yeah, of course.
Where?
Carrier Dome, Wrigley Field.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, those sound like good places.
You got to go to the Garden, though.
You're
dude.
my best
He hits
friend,
Piano
but that's
Man in the Garden.
embarrassing.
Watch out.
Why?
Because we're not his age. You're going to you're 40 years, 38
Multiple's a
years
lot.
old, going
The
to
New York State
multiple
of Mind,
Billy
though.
Joel concerts.
I bet you New York
Jeez
State of Mind.
Louise.
New York State of Mind in the Garden
Out
hits
there
hard.
drinking Cosmos, listening to Billy
I bet it
Joel.
does.
What else is cool?
Thanks for asking, Wilds. Ric Flair. Because to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo. Boston Celtics.
You really didn't commit
That's
to
it.
that. Whoa.
That's it. We're good. We're good now. Let's just go.
Jason Tatum. When you talk about the Hawks down the stretch, okay, well, they beat some tankers. Since Tatum's return, they have the best record in the East, but also the 7th toughest strength of schedule. So when we talk about
Good stat.
how good the team is or isn't, I have found it very difficult to put any value on the last 2 months of NBA basketball because who's good, who's trying, and it's just a have and have not. The Celtics, they have wins over real teams. They got Cavs, Suns, Thunder, Hawks, Raptors, Magic, all since Tatum's come back. So not a mirage what the Celtics are doing with Tatum back.
You be honest now.
Go ahead.
There's not just a small piece of you. There's a large piece of you that wishes you had held back that James Harden Cavs take about a week. So you...
Nick, I wear leather gloves on TV. I'm willing to go down the ship.
Okay.
I got,
Can
Cavs over Celtics.
You know how
You didn't answer his question.
No, but
You clearly.
Cavs over.
but it's
He's
it's
been
not
dropping
predictions
bread.
week, but we're making our predictions on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you've said prior to Friday, you love the Hornets or anything like that,
Yeah.
is in pencil.
That is true. You
So
can change.
you are not locked into this horrible
That's true.
believing in James Harden
'Cause you know
thesis
they're
that you
not
rolled
winning.
I
out.
brought my pen. Tune in this time on Friday.
Love it.
Make some
He's
NBA
clearly
playoff
changed.
predictions.
I mean,
That was before
listen,
Tatum.
here,
Do the Celtics have a big four?
Here's what we know. He's going to have the Thunder. Danny, when it comes to this NBA season, at least the Western Conference, might have taken KW's
Just accurate.
job.
He's all in on the Thunder.
Salute.
Captain Easy Sands.
That's an easy.
Captain Easy Sands.
I just like being
I
right.
think Shea's great. I think the Thunder are awesome. I think the team that won last year is going to win forever.
They just go on Captain Correct and be like, heck yeah.
All right, I like quadrupling my money. You can get him at 4-1 at one point.
Yeah,
It's
good
good
what you
return.
don't like. What's that? Graphic rolls out with you on Captain Easy Stance. Talking about the Bears draft next on First Things First Overtime.
Welcome back to the Overtime. We got Greg Jennings and Willie Colon hanging out. Let's go to Sweet Home Chicago, where Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Bears, like everyone, they're getting ready because the draft is in 8 days. Article this morning on The Athletic. Bears general manager Ryan Poles seeks NFL draft ! After eventful March. And when we take a look at the moves that the Bears have made, a lot of things have happened for sure. The DJ Moore trade was a highlight. Drew Dahlman's retirement a surprise. Kind of a dip their toe in the water experience in free agency. So Greg, I will start with you. Bears, of course, coming off of a division title. But when you look at the roster, what would you say is their biggest priority for the draft? I'm going last.
Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious. I believe we better all be on the defensive side of the ball because when you watch
Caleb's
that,
going to
I
solve
don't think
everything
all
up.
of us are going to be on the defense.
Oh, well, I'm going to be on the defense side of the ball. You got to either go with a pass rusher or another safety.
Right.
Like, when you look at some of the issues that this team had, it was predominantly on that side of the ball. Their inability to pressure quarterbacks, to be disruptive. Obviously, they were able to create turnovers. We all know that. But what allows you to create those turnovers and impact games if you don't get those turnovers? Pressuring the quarterback. And they just weren't able to get after the quarterback. This is a very deep defensive pass rush draft. You can find a guy at pick 25, or if you decide to do something different, I think they stay there and they can still get a good guy. Or if you have to go safety, the young man out of Toledo, if he's available.
Emmanuel McNeil.
Emmanuel
right?
McNeil Warren.
Yeah, he's a dog.
6'4".
Yep.
Like, you got to go get him. You got to go get him. So I think you stay on that side of the
They
ball.
lost Byard and Brisker in the
you get Kobe
offseason, brought in
Bryant.
Kobe Bryant from Seattle. Okay.
Now I feel like you set me up.
You're going, what are you going, left tackle?
How can you not? This is about the preservation of Caleb Williams. You signed Braxton Jones to a one-year deal, right? And you talk about you had a second rounder last year who got hurt for you, and Ozzie, what's his last name? Tripilio? There you go. He's coming off a patella tear. So now you're saying, man, we got one guy we got for a year. Our second round pick is coming off a serious knee injury. If you're at 25 and Caden Proctor from Alabama lands to you, you take the big fella.
Well, I mean, he's Jonathan Ogden, like you said the other day. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I feel like if you have an opportunity to go grab him, you do grab him. And also, you may have to also entertain possibly getting a center because you got Garrett Bradbury, but he's on an expiring deal. So I think right now you may have to seriously entertain getting the offensive line help.
Listen, protecting Caleb Williams, I will always support. I think Greg's is more of the conventional wisdom. They hired Ben Johnson. Their first two picks under Ben Johnson, were Loveland and Burden. They overhauled their offensive line last year. Like they gave everything to Caleb Williams last year. I think the offensive plan now is improvement, right? And continuity. Their front seven is just not good. Yeah. Like Tremaine Edmonds left, and he was a disappointment. Montez Sweat has basically played every game, but he's averaging a half a sack a game since he's been there because there is no help. They signed Dio Odangbo. I always pronounce that incorrectly. I apologize. From the Colts. I know. He played 8 games, had 1 sack. So they need a disruptor there. But what I would say is, I hope Ryan Poles doesn't stop being aggressive. The Bears haven't restructured any contracts yet. You could restructure Joe Tooney or Jalen Johnson or Montez Sweat if the Bears are willing to cut some checks and spend some cash. You can trade for Dexter Lawrence right now. That trade seems to be available. And they have extra draft capital in the second round. The idea of either moving up for an edge rusher and trading in front of the Lions and the Vikings and trading into maybe the mid-teens is something they could do if they love one of those pass rushers in the draft. I just hope that they see this opportunity as we are a star short on defense. Like they need an impact player on their front seven.
So they don't draft up. They have to pick at 25. What are you?
Front seven. Okay. The best player available in the front seven. I think it is the clear need of the team. I think the offense is going to be flirting with being a top 5 offense this year as presently constructed.
And so to your point, like you always want to protect your quarterback. Caleb Williams is so good, and I hate doing this because we tend to do this with really good quarterbacks who are very athletic. We say, he can be so elusive. He can extend plays. He can fend for himself, if you will. I'm not saying that at all with Caleb, but I think in this, going into year 3, year 2 with Ben Johnson, I think he will be a little bit more poised to deal with pressure in the sense of being able to get out to his hots and be very decisive with the ball early. With that being said, you can't give up. If Caleb Williams has to do what he did all last year, which is go win the game on the last drive because we get the ball last every single game, we just don't see that happening.
Well, I think we underestimate how big of an impact Drew Dillman had for that offense. He's the one that was calling out the protection and taking some of those bricks off of Caleb Williams' shoulders. On top of that, Caleb next year, and what he has to show that he can start the game a lot faster. We didn't see the Caleb that we fell in love with until the second half of games. So if you're telling me right now, if we want an improvement out of Caleb, well, it starts with the offensive line because his mechanics in the pocket wavered at times because he didn't see things on time. He's trying to improvise with his legs. What gives you security and gives you a sense of vision when you're out there is knowing that you can buy time in the pocket with a legit offensive line. So for me, if you're talking about, and to me, Danny and Greg, by year 4 or 5, we have to be talking about Super Bowl for the Bears right now. And the only way you get to the Super Bowl is with an offensive line that can drive that offense. So that's how I'm.
Based on the last couple Super Bowls, you better be able to rush the passer.
And you got to run the ball. You got to protect the quarterback. It can go either way.
That's a lot of needs. There are no perfect team. You just need Caleb Williams to be awesome. Just be Iceman.
Well, you got to have an awesome quarterback.
Yeah, you got. I love hearing a Packer say that. Let's go to San Francisco,
where
Christian McCaffrey went on the Insiders to talk about what he sees from running back Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. And you know what? It's a lot of praise. Said I've seen a bunch of him. When you watch him just move at the combine, you can tell he's a great player. When you watch his tape, you find out that he kind of has that extra juice, the stuff that you can't really coach. I'm not sure where you guys come out on this, but for me, there's like a clear line of demarcation on teams with Jeremiah Love. If you are bad, don't take him. If you are good, take him. Like
if you're bad, don't take him?
If you're bad, don't take him.
Why is that?
Okay. If we just look at running backs since Christian McCaffrey,
sure,
who were taken in the top 12, and we all assume Jeremiah Love is comfortably going to go in the top 12, okay? Those are the running backs going back to Christian McCaffrey's draft class that were drafted inside the top 12.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's look at their win percentage with the teams that they were drafted by in the first 4 years, like while they were on their rookie contract. The only one who had a winning record was Jahmyr Gibbs, who was the 12th pick, who went to by far the best team there. Running backs do not make a bad team good. They can make a good team great. So when I see him mocked to the Titans aren't ready.
No.
The Titans are not ready for Jeremiah Love. So he will be fine. He will be good. But like Saquon Barkley, he started winning when he left. McCaffrey started winning when he left. Bijan Robinson, he's been arguably the best running back in football the last couple of years. Hasn't had a winning season.
Mm-hmm.
So if Jeremiah Love goes to a bad team, I'm not going to all of a sudden up their win total significantly, even though he's awesome.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it. But if you're the Titans and you sit there and you try to take the best available player, if you feel like he's the best available player on your draft board, then you go take him. I think with Robert Saleh being on that roster and obviously Dable being the offensive coordinator, having Saquon, having a relationship with a running back and it not really working out, knowing he was a great running back, but knowing, man, we kind of got to have that defense solidified. I think they go defense, specifically linebacker. That's a need for them. But Jeremiah Love, for me, I said this yesterday, I would love to see him in Minnesota.
Trade up.
And so it's not just about going to a good team for me. It's about going to a play caller that understands what they have.
Sure.
Because I just don't feel like everyone will maximize who he is. We all know who he is. We all see it. But it's because it was maximized at Notre Dame to a degree. But if he gets with a Kevin O'Connell or even this will not happen. But like, if you were able to get to a Shanahan,
yeah, that is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But like, that's what I
you want to see the great talent.
I want to see a great talent with somebody that knows what to do with that type of a talent.
Yeah, if he lands at number 7 to the Commanders, you take him. I think you have to understand, Jaden Daniels, his rookie year, led that team in rushing. Right now, you got a quarterback coming off an injury. You need more explosive and more of a scary piece in your run game. He can be that because of his versatility. I think you can definitely use him like a CMC. And I also believe right now, if you're the Commanders and you have the quarterback and you have a running back, you start building brick by brick. He's one of those bricks that you can lean on for next season.
All right, I should have mentioned my team. Giants at 5 would work for me. I think that there's enough of a ceiling there. I think there's enough pieces around him where that would work. Talking about situations, what about the one that Fernando Mendoza is walking to? We go inside the OT War Room next. Welcome back. We are now just 8 days away from the 2026 NFL Draft, and we want to bring you inside the OT War Room, where every day we talk the biggest storylines ahead of the big day. We have the 52nd pick in the draft, the 131st pick in the draft, and an undrafted. We're not going to say which one was which. It's not a big deal.
A lot of guys go undrafted.
A lot of guys go undrafted. Exactly right. So this one is a little bit more philosophical, gentlemen, all right? And we're going to eventually apply this to Fernando Mendoza. But when I was in Chicago, the Bears were debating between Mitch Trubisky and Patrick Mahomes. And so the age-old question was like, what would have happened would Mahomes be Mahomes if instead of going to Andy Reid and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, he would have went to John Fox? Like, you know what I mean? Like that was the question. And Dowell Loggins and what the Bears had going on. So Greg, I will start with you. 52nd overall to the Packers. How much does success ultimately, is it because of the talent or the situation?
Both. It's absolutely both. And this is a question that is often thrown out there, that a lot of people just say, man, the talent would have overcome the situation. And sometimes that's just not the case, given the situation. Let's go to your guy, Patrick Mahomes with the Bears. Do I believe Patrick Mahomes would have been that guy eventually? Yes, I do. It would have taken so much longer, in my opinion, and probably even in yours, because there was no vision. There was no plan. Andy Reid had a plan. When he drafted Patrick Mahomes, he understood what he had in Tyreek Hill. He had a vision for him. And so immediately after year one of him just sitting, he was able to implement that plan. When I was with the Packers, because of what was around me, because they had an older Brett Favre who understood how to run an offense, I was a smart player. So I was one of those guys that could just be inserted and then lean and glean off of the skill set and the knowledge of a guy like Donald Driver, Robert Ferguson, all those other guys that was in that locker room. But because of the system, it allowed my process to really start a lot sooner.
Yeah, I think Greg is spot on. You know, when I say this, when it comes to a player's success, talent matters, because if the situation isn't right, that means the talent gets delayed, and that's the biggest problems. And I see it kind of like 60-40. Meaning the player, you know, if he brings the toughness, the work ethic, the skill set, all that, but the situation is right. Like, for instance, I take Sam Darnold. I was around when Sam Darnold got drafted, right? And I watched him. And he was tough. He could run. He had football IQ. But he had an average receiving core, bad offensive line, bad head coach. The structure for him to develop was bad. But then you turn around and you look at a guy like, hell, you look at Patrick, like you just mentioned Patrick, but also not even Patrick. I'm drawing a blank, and I'm sorry about doing that. But my point is to it all, man. When you structure matters, because a guy like Brock Purdy, for instance, you see where he got drafted. Yeah, you talk about Shanahan, you talk about the weapons around him. Everything tends to matter, because even if you step into a situation that you're ready to develop in, sometimes that team carries you so you can grow with the system. So that's why situation matters.
So you guys both end up in situations, obviously, that works out for you. You're not the top pick, but you end up in great teams, great success, and now you're hanging out here with me. So let's apply it to Fernando Mendoza. But before we get to the Raiders situation, quarterbacks go number one. It just happens. So if we just go back and we start looking through the last few guys. So this is kind of what Bryce Young had, right? Not much. Yeah. And he's already had multiple head coaches, obviously, right? Canales is there now instead of Frank Reich. Then you go to Caleb Williams. Caleb, at the time, we thought this is one of the great situations ever for a number one pick to walk into. I will admit, I underestimated the value of coaching.
Yes.
Because of the Matt Eberflus. I was like, man, he's got a receiver, he's got a couple receivers, He's got a tight end. But obviously the Matt Eberflus problem, they had to change coaches. 2 coaches in 2 years, they hit it out of the park with Ben Johnson. Last year, Cam Ward, if we put up what Cam Ward had when he walked in to the NFL. He now is going up to new head coach, 2 coaches in 2 years, not a whole heck of a lot of talent, obviously, around him in Tennessee. Which brings me to Fernando Mendoza. A few months ago, I would have said this was a terrible situation that he's walking into. But you sign Tyler Linderbaum, you bring in Naylor, he is starting with an offensive head coach. So him and Kubiak are on the same parallel track. It should not be 2 coaches in 2 years like the previous 3 number 1 overall pick quarterbacks. All of a sudden, I actually think Fernando Mendoza is walking into a certainly above average, but dare I even say good situation for a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, he's definitely walking into a better situation than what we all believed it to be, let's say, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
For sure. But when I look at this situation with Fernando Mendoza, what's even better is you have a veteran quarterback that if you say, we're going to hold you, not saying that that's going to be the philosophy, but if you decided, you know what, we're going to allow you to see how we envision our offense to be run. Kirk Cousins can do that. He can learn in the film room. He can learn on the field, on the fly, until you're willing to hand him over the keys and say, hey, here's our offense. You now run it because your skill set will allow us to unlock everything that Clint Kubiak envisions this offense being.
Yeah, I consider it a B- situation for all the reasons you just called out. But I also look at some of the situations that didn't, for quarterbacks jumping into the, like, it was like, we're still, the Panthers are still trying to pick up, well, if they pick up Bryce Young's 5th-year option, right? You talk about Trevor Lawrence, when he got to Jacksonville, it was a mess under Urban Meyer, right? Look at Joe Burrow, there was protection issues. So I think to your point, structure matters. They addressed the offensive line. They still need help in the receiving core. The defense looks like it's going to be better than last year. So I think he's walking into a comfortable situation.
But also, the defense is one thing in terms of winning. I'm almost not even talking about winning. Like, in terms of Fernando Mendoza reaching his potential and, like, can we do a fair evaluation of Fernando Mendoza? I feel like I watched 17 games of Cam Ward last year, and I was like, I don't know.
Because the offensive line was so bad.
Right. Like, it's like he didn't have weapons. He didn't have protection. They fire a coach. I feel like at the end of this year, depending on how much he plays, obviously, to your point, Greg, about Cousins, I should have a decent idea on whether or not Fernando Mendoza can do it because he's got enough around him.
Yeah, we'll have an understanding of how they intend for it to look, even if he doesn't play. Like, one of the most underrated pickups and I don't think it's really underrated. I think everybody knows, like you certainly know, Linderbaum.
Huge.
Like, having a center that can immediately call out protections to alleviate, you know this with Caleb.
It helps.
Like, to eliminate that off your plate right away, it just accelerates you to be able to do other things until you get that part.
And don't underestimate Clint Kubiak, right? Just leaving the Super Bowl, has the pedigree, great quarterback resume. He's going to be able to kind of mold Mendoza into how he feels like, let him see what an elite quarterback looks like.
And I still think he's going to play sooner than later because number 1 overall picks tend to play. But even if he sits a month behind Kirk Cousins, it's like you get to learn from Brady, you get to learn from Kubiak, you get to learn from Cousins. It's a really nice infrastructure for him to figure out the adjustment to the NFL.
Yeah, another guy that they have that's going to help him a lot in terms of his growth is Brock Bowers. Like, the closer, like, everybody, and I'm a receiver, I love receivers. You got to have great receivers. And Colin Cowherd's saying is, we're the icing. Hey, a cake tastes better with icing. So I feel like offenses are better with receivers. But to my point, Brock Bowers being so close, understanding I got a guy that I can outlet to. If they shore up their offensive line in other areas, you will possibly have a running game. You believe in your running back. Those 2 elements, quarterback best friend.
Yeah, I used to think that there was a real chance that they were going to trade this number 1 pick because they weren't ready. They've made the moves that pretty clearly signal they think they're ready to drop Fernando Mendoza into the situation. Tune in tomorrow to the OT War Room. Jets, Browns, and Dolphins. All of them have 2 first-round picks that could control the draft. We tell you what each one needs to do to turn around their fortune for their franchise. Welcome back. Let's talk a little hoops. Tonight's game is fun in theory between the Warriors and the Clippers. Like, I mean, we got Kawhi Leonard, we got Steph Curry, we got teams that we care about. for the right to eventually lose to the Thunder. There's a minutes restriction on Steph, but he's not really a guy who plays 40-plus minutes anyway. Anyone have the Warriors and Steph Curry keeping their season alive tonight?
I don't.
Do you?
I do. I think you hit it on the head. I think they can't go on sloppy stretches because of Steph's restrictions. They got to be able to rebound the ball. Don't turn over the ball, which they don't do. They have been horrible at. And Draymond has to be big against Kawhi. All right? And I think they got a shot. And KP has to, Kristaps Porzingis has to shoot the ball better. So they got a shot.
Listen, Steph can win a game, but this season just feels like it needs to end for the Warriors.
Yeah.
I got the Clippers. Kawhi's been amazing.
That part right there.
He's been
You
great.
need not say anymore. And the way Darius Garland is playing right now, too.
Playing better recently.
But Kawhi, discussion over.
And just
it stops right there.
Do the Warriors even want to win?
How do you not want to win?
Just the draft pick, the injuries, the inevitability of losing in the first round.
They're gonna lose.
Clippers need it more than the Warriors.
Bet it, Golden State.
All right, we'll pay up tomorrow.